Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to TraderTV.live. It's Monday, March 30th, end of the month, almost, tomorrow, obviously. End of the quarter as well. North American stock futures pointing back to the upside again this morning. Getting a nice lift in the pre-market from news from Johnson & Johnson coming out saying that they've identified a successful candidate for a possible vaccine for COVID-19. Trials set to begin coming up in September. Yes, hit that confetti. Johnson & Johnson coming out with what is hopefully the right vaccine. So yeah, they're saying September for human trials, and then the earliest that we'll see this thing in use possibly the new year, January or February of the new year, they're saying. So good news to start Monday morning. It's the first Monday in almost a month that we haven't come into futures limit down. So that's also a positive to start the week. However, crude oil, big move to the downside this morning. Obviously, a lot of people in quarantine currently throughout the world, creating less demand for oil and gas right across the board. So big 5+% move to the downside for crude oil. A lot of the energy makers or energy companies moving to the downside along with that. Data out of Johns Hopkins University showing 700,000+ cases worldwide now of the coronavirus. The U.S. overtook both Italy and China last week as the leader or epicenter for the virus. 136,000+ cases in the U.S. alone now. Nearly half of those cases coming from New York, the epicenter as far as the U.S. goes by itself. On the data front this morning, we'll get U.S. pending home sales for February coming up at 10 o'clock. We have Stuart Shoddy from the CSE coming up in a few minutes here. We'll talk about how things are shaping up for this week on the CSE if you're trading some Canadian securities. For now, let's go over to the desk and say good morning to Neil first. Sean's over in the corner, and we'll get to him as well.
Yeah, good morning.
Oh, hey, we have
the double shot.
We have everybody back together again. Salud. I didn't even know.
Good morning. My pen's falling. Okay.
So we're doing the social distancing. Obviously, you guys can see we're separating from each other, but we are here. We are ready to go, locked and loaded. As Brendan mentioned, the big story here: not limit down on a Monday. We'll take it. The market has this feeling like when you get a little bit of bad news, we're not necessarily dropping off a cliff. And you have the extension of the distancing by the president, another month there. Of course, you have crude oil cratering as well, and we're still up 1% over there on the ES. So, credit Johnson & Johnson, or maybe it's just a shift in the way people are thinking in the short term in terms of the market. But one thing that has not changed, and that's just going to be the performance throughout the company here, Day Trade the World. I'm always going to do this for you guys. Show the top traders by market. Coming in at number one on Friday, 88,000. Someone pulled out of the Amex. Zetra, Germany, that's 35,000. London, 34,000. NASDAQ coming in at 28. And Helsinki in New York, rounding it out there at 18,000 or so each. So big numbers as usual on this strong Monday coming up here, Sean.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see the futures here basically ripping. I mean, it's been up about 20 or 30 handles here in a little bit. We noticed on Friday, of course, that there was a little bit less volatility, which is nice to see. Hopefully the markets can remain a little bit calm, and this is what I'm talking about here today. Nice little move off the bottom. We keep making higher lows here. Boom, boom. Once again here as we just continue to keep going upside here. We've already broken through this 25.50 level, which I thought was going to be pretty key just as a psychological level. So yeah, up and away. Watch out. Obviously down here we bounced off 2,500 earlier. And look, I mean, I wrote down the obvious stocks today. J&J, Abbott Labs. We'll keep going. I love trading Microsoft, Carnival Cruise Lines doing some big volumes as well. So we do have CSE coming through. We have Jeff Mendel from OTC Markets. And then we have Kevin Uterid from NASDAQ Canada. So look, it's going to be a big day. Check our Instagram, check our socials. Tons of big guests coming. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. But Brendan, it's an action-packed day, and it's nice to start a Monday off in a little more positive feeling, I feel, this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been limit down for the past 3 or 4 weeks in a row on a Monday. So yeah, good to see things back in positive territory. We're going to get into some markets here, but let's go over and say good morning to Valeria as well.
Thank you, Brandon, and hello everyone. Happy Friday. I wish you a great week, and guys, I remind you, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for our show. If you're watching us from Facebook, please like and share. We really need your support. And guys, we're gonna have a very interesting week with a lot of interesting guests, so stay tuned. I'll be right back, and back to the traders.
All right, let's get into some markets here and see how things are shaping up. We'll start over in the APAC region first. Overnight in Asia, things were still a little bit negative to start a Monday as far as both Chinese markets, it looks like, and also Japan. Australia did get back into positive territory. As far as some metal prices moving higher, we had crude oil back to the upside, so you can see, yeah, nice move there for Australia, 8+% to the upside. Everything else, though, pretty red right across the board to start the new week. We'll shift over to Europe here and see much of the same, bit of a mixed story as far as European markets still. England about flat. We have Germany back in positive territory. Italy to the downside along with Spain. Obviously the two countries hardest hit when it comes to the coronavirus over in the European region. I did read an interesting story this morning out of England saying Prince Charles, after 7 days only in quarantine, has come out of self-isolation, saying health concerns are not an issue anymore and he's feeling fine. So apparently Prince Charles only needs 7 days in quarantine. Let's have a look at North American markets here and see how things are shaping up. Yeah, nice moves to the upside here. 1.3% for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, everything. TSX looking positive as well here in Toronto. Brazil's open already, 1% to the upside. 5.7% to the downside on that news for Bitcoin. Crude oil also big move down, although it's come off the lows, it looks like, and gold also moving into negative territory. We're going to get into some individual names here as far as stocks moving around in the pre-market. Before we do that, though, we're going to check in with our good friend Stuart Shoddy over at the CSE and see how things are shaping up on this Monday morning for the CSE. Good morning, Stuart. How are you?
Morning, Brendan. How's it going?
Very good. Obviously, a little bit more of a positive tone since the last time we spoke a week or so ago. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, up and down. How are things shaping up so far this morning on the CSE?
Yeah, everything's looking good so far on the CSE. As you can see, I'm sitting in my condo, practicing that social distancing that everyone's doing these days. Saw your office there looking very empty, everyone well spaced. So obviously the guys at Trader TV are being very responsible in that regard, but everything's going well so far. Yeah, hopefully shaping up to be a positive week.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had quite the roller coaster up and down as far as the markets are concerned. How have things been so far for the CSE? Obviously, a lot of individual names moving around more so than the overall market. We've had some energy stocks in play with oil prices going on a crazy move as well. Tell us about some individual stocks that are moving.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really been for the last 2 weeks, at least at the CSE, all about the cannabis names. The cannabis names have generally been declared as essential services in the US and in Canada. So they are open for business. It's been results coming out. So last week, a couple of companies listed on the CSE released their results. So probably the one that's most prominent and what a lot of people would trade is Curaleaf Holdings. So CURA. Their results came out on the 24th. Revenues increased 136%. Their symbol price is up approximately about 70% from the 19th of March, so in the last 2 weeks. And it looks like COVID-19 has been net positive for their business, increase in sales, increase in revenues. So that's certainly something to look at. And, essentially, if you're going to be trading CSE symbols, right now, it looks like the best thing to do is stick with cannabis. So on top of Curaleaf, also TruLeaf Cannabis, TRUL, also been in a solid uptrend, enjoying the, I like the little cannabis emoji or animation there. It was great. So yeah, you want to be looking at cannabis names. Also another one to perhaps trade is one listed on the TSX, Aurora Cannabis, but if the guys are looking to trade cannabis symbols that are listed on the TSX, the CSE has approximately about 10% of the volume on that symbol. So if you want to kind of skip those deep books on the TSX, post on our market and you'll hopefully get your fills.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit on Friday about ACB coming out with that news saying they were donating a whole bunch of those N95 masks to Health Canada, which was a nice look for them. But as you mentioned, as soon as both the U.S. and Canadian governments came out and said the cannabis space is going to be an essential service, we saw that nice move to the upside, 2 or 3 day move, in fact, to the upside for the cannabis space. We've seen, a little bit of a muted market as far as some of the metals are concerned. The gold stocks, the mining sector as a whole hasn't really done much over the past week, surprisingly, somewhat. Any individual mining names that you're seeing moving around?
Not really. Right now, for me at least, on our market, the focus has really been cannabis. It's where the volume seems to be. It's where the news seems to be, and essential services. Obviously, mining right now with crude, with gold prices, doing all sorts of things. Books can be a bit thin, especially on some of the CSE listed symbols. So definitely, if the guys are looking for trading names, stick with cannabis. Stick with the well-known ones: the Curaleafs, the True Leaves, the Green Thumb Industries, GTIs, those symbols.
Fantastic. Stuart Shoddy from the CSE, thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll let you get back to things, obviously working from home once again this week. We appreciate your time.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great week.
There you go, guys. Stuart Shoddy from the CSE. Head over and check out some, listed cannabis names on the CSE. Obviously, opportunities abound when it comes to the cannabis space. As I mentioned, a nice 2 or 3 day move back to the upside for some of the cannabis stocks that we were talking about last week as well. Let's get into some other names moving around in the pre-market. Obviously, the big one, Johnson & Johnson, big move to the upside this morning. They came out and said they've successfully identified what they are calling a candidate for a vaccine, and will proceed with human trials. As I mentioned, September, it looks like, as far as human trials go, for starting human trials. And they're saying possibly January or February, is going to be the earliest we see this thing actually in use when all goes well. So Neil, we'll start with you, I guess. Johnson & Johnson to the upside this morning.
Yeah, up 3.5% here. It's giving a little bit back. It's worth noting, was mentioned this morning. They're going to be giving this one away at cost, so it might not be a tremendous amount of opportunity for profitability in terms of stock here, but there's some goodwill obviously involved there. So, it's going to get the nice little bounce. You'll see it shading in just a little bit here. We got as high as 130.50 in the pre-market. We're back down, about $3 from that area. But it is worth noting, if you do go back to late last year, if you're maybe into August and September, you can see this nice level we had at 127 or so. We've bounced back above that. That looks like it could be a support once again. So that's what I'm more or less looking at here. I'm not necessarily thinking this will be as big of a high flyer. I think Abbott's probably got a better bounce here with its news than J&J from a fundamental standpoint, but we're still below the 200 moving average. You got 126, 127 as that nice little base. That could be a nice buying opportunity. I'm just not sure we'll get as explosive of a move to the upside as you might see elsewhere.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Good analysis there, Neil. I'm kind of surprised myself a little bit here on the move that J&J had. I thought it would be a lot bigger than this, only 3.69%. Look, we knew one of these companies was going to get it. We talked about it being Gilead, J&J. Obviously, I think there's going to be more releases coming out soon. They're not going to be the only company that figures a vaccine out, obviously, as there's been so many billions, trillions of dollars thrown at this event. But look at this little level here, 129.50. I definitely like that. To the upside, I think we'll be pounding that if it does come through. But I just want to talk about this epic fall here. The last couple Fridays, due to some sort of a rebalance or just people, clearing their positions off before the weekend, J&J was actually right here, 127.50 on Friday before this news. I mean, they didn't have a vaccine then, and it dropped all the way down, and you have a huge move all the way to 123 Friday afternoon. Basically, in a half hour, this thing gave up $6. So what I was looking at right now is this is right where we're at, right at that high before the drop. So 127.60. A good little look, I think, to get long right now. Before we go on, though, I did want to check the imbalance locator. I did see Kevin mention there about Abbott Labs, and yes, we're going to get to that in a minute. Abbott Labs, a big buy right here. And here's also J&J. Not bad. Look, for $130 stock, you have 260,000 shares to buy right here. So not horrible, and some big names, CCL, 4GE, and so on. But Brendan, yeah, J&J is going to be a lot of volume today, and it's going to be the talk of the town. So I think we'd be reminiscent not to hit hit J&J a little bit today at least.
Let's get back to Abbott Labs right now. In fact, Abbott Labs is moving higher in the pre-market this morning after the company received FDA approval for a rapid results test for COVID-19. And this thing has already been produced and is set to be released for use already. So ABT, Sean, I'll throw it right back at you here. ABT moving higher.
Yeah, no, Abbott Labs, I mean, again, all I heard all weekend was I was actually so excited to wait till 7 p.m. last night when I started seeing some of these equities trade again, and I wanted to see where Abbott Labs exactly was going to open up, and it looks like we're going to do exactly that, up about 10%. Again, thought it might be a little bit higher just because a lot of the talk all weekend, Trump was talking about Abbott Labs this, Abbott Labs that, and they got the FDA fast track of this product. So look, it's great that we can test more. If we look at a day's range here, this is what it's done. I mean, what a great pickup this would have been last week, obviously in the 60s. You're going to wake up today to basically an 83 print by the time it's all said and done. That's a nice little return. I'm wondering if traders will fade this. If you have it long in your portfolio, this may be the break you're looking for. So possibly you get out if you're averaged in here. Nice little win up to 82, 83. This is a little gap right here, 88 to 86. I like to see it get back to 86 today. I think it can do that with a lot of volume. 4 million shares, probably one of the biggest volume pre-markets it's ever had. But yeah, this is not horrible news, obviously, for Abbott Labs. I like it, and I think just playing long is the right thing to do. But Neil, as you know, we got to wait for these market imbalances to settle down. Yeah,
you definitely have to see how that open's going to play out. Obviously, it's positive note in the market overall. Worth having a look at this January bottom at 84, sort of coinciding with the 200 MA, which we're still below right now, so that's pretty good, giving about $1 worth of price in between that and a possible breakout, like you mentioned. The only thing I would be concerned about is just if it fades at this 84, and we just showed on the chart there, that's a January bottom, it's a 200 as well. So if we do fade there, that's probably going to be your shot for a short opportunity. I might take a stab at it if I can get that after an opening range. Not a short that I would want to jump into right at 930 because you get that blow through and it can get really, really ugly on you there. So I would have a look at that possible reversal to a long at that price, short in front type of play.
All right, guys, a few other ones moving around related to the coronavirus this morning. We'll get to that Altimmune. I want to talk about that one in a few minutes. But Sanofi and Regeneron, obviously Sanofi, an ADR, you can trade it over in Europe, but we'll have a look at it in New York here. Also, Regeneron moving on this news as well. They teamed up to test their rheumatoid arthritis drug as a possible coronavirus treatment. And that test is continuing apparently successfully. So a little bit of a pop here, guys, on SNY. If you want to have a look at SNY over on the NASDAQ, about 2% to the upside this morning.
I didn't really look at this one. I've been looking at so many other ones. SNY over on the NASDAQ. Let's just have a quick look here. Wow, yeah, up, okay, only up 2%. But yeah, okay, the volume is going to be a little bit of an issue. 200,000 shares isn't horrible for this one, but Sanofi, you talked about ADRs. You can trade those in other markets as well. Nice little bump up. It closes $42. Looks like we're open around 43. So yeah, nice little move up here. Like I was saying, I'm going to be looking more. I mean, this is a big cap stock. Don't get me wrong, but I am going to look to see what we can do with J&J and Abbott Labs. Neil, did you have any ideas on SNY?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at Regeneron maybe here. They have that nice 420 base that it's turning around off of. It's also up to 2.5% that you're mentioning. You just saw it in Sanofi as well. But this is breaking right towards that high from Friday. Of course, you mentioned, Sean, that drop that we had in the afternoon, big time sell-off when we hit that 7,800 over there on the NQ. But 466 is going to be a nice little breakout level here, pre-market high as well. So keep your eye on Regeneron. The last time I didn't look at this stock when it was in play. I turned around and regretted it because it was a fantastic breakout level that we didn't take advantage of. So good look pointing this one out. You can add it to that list of these bio names that we're going to probably be trading rather heavily today. I mean, I'm like you, Sean. I do like Abbott Labs probably a little bit better for an active trade and possibly a J&J, but you can't sleep on Regeneron.
Another one that's been moving on news related to the coronavirus over the past week or so is Novartis. Going to get to Gilead here in a second, guys, but Novartis, their CEO told a Swiss newspaper that their malaria drug, which was mentioned in one of Trump's press conferences going back to the beginning of last week, is their only hope when it comes to a coronavirus vaccine. So they are not pursuing any other angles when it comes to a vaccine. That was Novartis, guys, saying in a Swiss newspaper that malaria drug is their only pitch at this. Let's go to Gilead, though. Gilead said they will stop taking individual emergency requests for their experimental coronavirus drug due to current overwhelming demand, which I guess is to be seen. I guess Gilead here, GILD to the upside again this morning.
Yeah, Gilead. I mean, again, I've loved Gilead for a long time here. It's a big mover. You have to keep your ear to the ground on this one. Anytime we talk about a drug maker, experimental, this and that, it's nice to see that they're getting overwhelming demand, but obviously they're going to have to stop it. They don't have the testing labs and all that kind of sort of thing set up yet for that. But 3.2%, beautiful move to the top side here. If you look at a daily chart, again, of this stock, it's just been super choppy. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. This is probably the most choppy stock you'll see here on a daily chart since this pandemic started, unfortunately. All the way down to 64 and all the way as high as 86, I guess, on whatever day this was, March 19th, up to $86. So yeah, today we'll open up 75. What a surprise, right in the middle of all this chop. The last couple of wicks on the top side, 76.50. So if we can get a breakthrough, 76.50, I like it. It's 178,000 shares. It's a news play. Could be very exciting. If you're sort of in this, you may want to. I think this may be a trimming situation here. I would have liked to see them more involved in this kind of talk, like a Johnson & Johnson or an Abbott Labs, like we talked about in depth already. But Gilead, if you can get to 76.50 right here, guys, and that's not out of the question, as like I said, I think there's a lot of positive news today, a lot of positive flows. I think there should be some money probably flowing back into some of these pharmaceuticals, and why not take Gilead here? They're kind of right in the middle, and your money is pretty safe. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere on this stock.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. And then the only thing I would look at other than that level to the upside, you get that chop, is maybe protecting some of this bottom between 70 and 72. I just find if you're trading it in the middle of this range, maybe that 72 to 74, that's where you're getting chopped out. Going to be trying to avoid that like the plague.
Let's shift over to energy stocks. Obviously, big move down for crude oil, although we are kind of climbing back to the upside as far as the overall futures are concerned for crude. But I want to talk about Oxy here. It's been one of the biggest movers to the downside, along with the price for oil over the past couple of weeks. It was down about 6%, just checked, only about 3.5% now. So coming back, Goldman Sachs coming out this morning suggesting the company will be forced to shift focus to production cuts going forward. So a little bit of a negative look here for OXY, guys.
I mean,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's down 3% on the session. You can certainly see the drop that it had coming in from that close on Friday. There was a nice level 1150 that was holding pretty much all session long, despite a gradual sell-off at the end of the week there in this name, and that's going to be the top here in the pre-market. I'm looking at Oxy and watching a level here in the pre-market. Someone's actually holding 1125 as well, so you have a couple of levels to the upside to work off of for a short. Oil tried to bounce off 2030. That was kind of a big level there. Briefly dipped below $20 a barrel, believe it or not, before slightly recovering. Just to check in what's going on right now. Looks like, yeah, it's trading still at that 2018 mark, so just below that 2030 level and just off of those bottoms. So you really got to watch out. If we hang out below 20, it's probably going to be an easy sell on Oxy below that 1125 to 1150 area.
Yeah, I have the oil chart up here. That's just what I want to talk about because Oxy will just fall with all the rest of them. There's going to be XOM. You know, we love to trade XOM on the show. I've made some decent money trading Occidental as well. But here's crude oil. It's hard to see this, but we're down 6.3% right now and continuing to fall down. I'm going to switch this over to a daily chart here for oil for you guys as well. Look at this, Brendan. I mean, we are at its low right now. So this is the low. It's unbelievable, actually. I mean, it's believable because it's here. We all know it. But $63 at the beginning of the year, oil, let's call it what it was, $65 at the beginning of the year. Now we're only 3 months in, almost 4 here, and we're pushing 20 right here. So oil, obviously the story is going to continue to be negative. And as we look at Oxy here, the same kind of thing is going to happen with them. They're producing, these shale companies, they're not going to be able to survive some of these pipeline companies and whatnot as well. Down only 3%. I'm actually expecting it to be down a little bit more. We'll trade this through 11.15 to the south side. Like Neil said, as long as oil keeps heading southbound, I don't really see any reason for this to rally. I know Uncle Carl is involved with this one. Carl Icahn, but I'm not sure that this is going to be enough to spark this thing going anywhere.
Yeah, another one to look at in that group this morning, California Resources as well, doing some volume as far as energy names. Let's shift over to Apple here real quick. Apple saying, or there's reports, Reuters reporting this morning that Apple could see as much as an 18% year-over-year drop in iPhone orders during its current quarter, obviously due to lack of demand because of the coronavirus. So I actually haven't looked at Apple this morning, guys. Just saw this news story late, but Apple, I mean, it's a good one to trade any day. Yeah, right on top of everything with Apple's symbol there. Sean, what are you looking at for Apple today?
I mean, I wrote down a few levels on Apple, and yeah, you know what? I was just sort of thinking about looking at something else, to be honest with you, just because we can always get those little in the weeds. We have one of those graphics as well. But the you're still up 1%. I'm not worried about that 18% drawdown there on the iPhones. We actually sort of expected something like that. Apple right now following the futures. Look at the futures chart right here. You can see bumps up and then hovers around the top and now fades back. Apple chart looking exactly the same thing. Bounces up to 251, now fades right back. So Friday's close, another epic fall. 255 all the way to 247, so you fall down almost a clean $10 there, including the post market there, and now boom, straight back to the upside. I look for 251.50, Neil, to break that to the top side, but you have to be bullish on the market.
Yeah, 250 has been a bit of a pivot point. You kind of go back to the afternoon on Thursday, and you see the up and down action all throughout Friday's session. A little bit of a turnaround at that price as well, and it's also going to be the 200. So I think Apple's one of those. It's going to follow the market. I think if you're going to have some bullish plays, certainly we've talked already about like an Abbott Labs or whatnot, or maybe like a Microsoft that's been relatively strong as well. You can just play this one. I think I'd almost prefer it on a breakdown side if we sold off. I'd much rather a sell off taking out that 250 for a sell. I think if it's going to be a long today, there might be a few better plays. But again, don't sleep on the fact that we were at 255, like you said, on Friday. So there's a nice $3 upside just to get back to that level on an Apple. So I really like this pivot from this price range. I just don't necessarily love it in between the 250 and the 251. There's an interesting name here that I know I missed out on, Brennan, that you're going to talk about at the big board. Nice little short sell retracement opportunity on a small cap.
Yeah, this is, I would say, even a micro cap. This thing's teeny tiny, about 14 million market cap on this thing. Supercom Limited. Supercom Limited up 90% in the pre-market here. Massive relative volume as well. This is a tech company that has created a way of tracking people with coronavirus that have been forced to quarantine. So there's an ankle bracelet involved in this tech. There's also a smartphone app involved in this tech. So big pop for Supercom, guys. SPCB on the NASDAQ. We're right at $1 right now, but huge volume for this one as well. What do you think, Neil, on SPCB?
Man, I kind of was looking at this and was saying I should be shorting this in front of that 115 area. Didn't do that. You have a 125 top. You go to the daily and there's just a lot of noise here on the way down. The only defined levels where you get all the way up to 150 or so. So it's not as if there was some consolidation if you look, but it's really a messy chart on the way down here. Doesn't give you those obvious levels to work off of that I prefer to the short side. Maybe there's a little something here at $1 on that 5 million that we can take advantage of, but I'm probably going to let this one open up. If it flushes through $1, I might take a shot shorting in through that price right away off of the open, but it might be there right now. Yeah, it already just took out 99, so looks like we might have missed that opportunity already. So might not be too active in this until after it makes an opening range.
Yeah, good look there. Some random stocks always to look at. We are going to have a look quickly at Microsoft as well as, yeah, we are now taking out some of this pre-market high stuff right here, which is funny because the market's not really doing too much. But look at this move on Microsoft here. I was just looking at 151.50, a nice little dollar to the top side here on Softy. Not really sure. We're going to wait to see what happens when it fades back through. The opening print, if we can get it down back near around 151, that's VWAP. That'd be nice. But just looking at Microsoft, wow, a nice little move to the top side. Another name I want to look at quickly before the bell comes is Carnival Cruise Lines. 13, it's already done 1.3 million. It's at 1378 was its high. I actually really like taking that out. If we can get back up there on some decent volume, we should. There is a big sell imbalance, so remember that. And we'll check back quickly on your Abbott Labs, guys, because this is one that we'll be trading as well. Bouncing still near the highs of 83.50.
Yeah, but the volume spike just now there in Abbott Labs the last couple of minutes, getting up up to about 83. It almost got to that 84, 83.78 there, and then came right back down. So this might test that 84 right away. We got about 30 seconds to the bell. Another one, Greg, I know you mentioned it. AAL down 6%, just bounced off that 13 pre-market bottom a little bit there. So getting a little bit of a rise off that level. I think that's going to be a good one to be able to watch. If you're going to short something today, watch for a breakdown of 13 at that one. We have our good friend Randy Bucking. I believe he does a bit of everything. He's a painter, he's the IT, he does it all. But he's going to be ringing the bell today. Obviously, it's a little bit of a short staff here as we're going to drop the countdown. There he is, Randy on the bell. Market ready to open here. Just watching some American Airlines, some Abbott Labs. Should be a wild one on this Monday.
Let's do that.
2 and 1. Let's ring that bell. Reach for it, Randy. You got it, buddy.
All right.
Randy. Yeah, we get it. You're excited. Right now,
Well, if you're not awake, you are
already
now.
breaking down towards that 13 even area, 1306. Got my stop order ready to go. But Abbott Labs, I think, is going to be that story. Back below 83, and I said I would fade this one once in front of that 84 level. We will take probably one shot with a reversal through that price, but I want my price above 83 even if we can get it there. So looking at both these two stocks moving quite heavily. Abbott, 7 million already in volume.
Yeah, wow. And CCL, I want to look at that as well. CCL straight to the downside. We did talk about that getting a nice little move. There we go. We are short. Okay, I was going to say we tried to get short there. So we are now short 87. That was the low of the day. A big sell imbalance. This may come back and hurt us. We're short right now at the bottom. So we're going to have to wait to see if this one comes back up. I may get out of this one. Short Carnival Cruise. Remember, there was a big sell on this one. So we may not have the best price here on Carnival Cruise. But we are short right now. 1287 right now on Carnival Cruise, guys.
Sean, Abbott Labs breaks that 84 area already. You can see it moving. It got to 84.40 before immediately reversing there. So tried to snatch him off for a bit of a scalp trade. Does not go. What I might do is just trim the position as the market's going here. 25.60. We're still headed upside.
Baby.
I did grab the short in Oxy in front of that 11.25 iceberg that we were looking at a bit earlier. So already one long and one short. Took some and trimmed that the Abbott Labs position because we were afraid of exactly this happening. If it fails at 84, that becomes an obvious selling point throughout this price. So I might get this one out. I'm looking at this 82 level right in the pre-market that we had a bit of a bottom. We're not digging into this one. At CCL, also looking at that one, but no movement just yet. Oxy looking like it's going to head southbound.
Yeah, CCL, there's a little bit of movement. We're short 87s here on that name. It just does go to 80s, though. We have a decent amount of shares, so we are hoping that this thing can fall through. But look at these futures. Let's check out Microsoft. I was waiting for Microsoft to break through 154. We are getting pretty close. So 153.80 right now on Softy is the name of the game. We could break through 154, and we will take that. There goes CCL right back to over $13 now. So this is getting me a little bit of trouble here, but I'm going to use this 1340 as the top. So average into CCL a little bit if we can. We didn't take enough out, obviously, at the bottom, but this had a big sell. Look at these futures, guys.
And Sean, look at that Apple move. You got that break at 251.50. So look, it breaks out of that price I didn't like, that $2 range. It's now above, but then snaps back down. This was sort of my fear. The market looking strong. Abbott holding 83.50 or so, so the 84 break isn't dead yet. It's just not really moving. The only thing that's working out for me right now is Oxy, but I want to check back in because that American Airlines is just bounced off of 13 once again. I am shorting this one through 13 even. We do like this one to the south side if you can take it out. It's tried to hold once. There is a bit of size here, 100,000 shares you're seeing on NASDAQ on the bid. If we can chew through that, we're going to try to get short that name.
154.20 here, just putting some orders out on Microsoft. So we are long Microsoft right up here, 154. Could be a little bit of a problem, but our CCL is no problem. We did take a nice little average price there, 13.20. We get that short. It falls back now down below. So right now, a little bit of a confetti here as we'll hit an air horn as CCL coming back down. We did take a nice little average price there at 13.20, putting us now averaged in at 12.97. So, our initial short back down 85, 86 on this break. Now we have 12.97s, which is right here, looking pretty good. Microsoft, though, not. It's coming back in, as you can see, the future's coming back, but I still like Microsoft. Long here, 154, guys.
And there is the break. Hate to do it. We like this one to the long side. Abbott Labs shudders through that 82 mark. It fails twice at 84, and then you see it fall back down. So it heads to the south side. That one's not going to end up working out for us. We'll go with the puke action, even though I think it's the creepiest graphic of all time. I'm looking right on the bid here at this 13. We're about to get short when this does break on American Airlines. That's going to be our next short position. Of course, Oxy now at 11 even. So this one headed for a break as well. We might add to our position through that price. price.
Yeah, everything working out right now. Explode the money. We are long again. This is my baby here, Microsoft. We go long 154 and change. So now we're back above this little price here. So cashing in once again on Softy as it looks like the bulls are. Here we go. We're long 154, guys, on Microsoft. It's at 154.70 right now. This stock is looking pretty sweet. Let's see if we can't get that going more and more. I still have a third of this stock left. Had to dump some as it wasn't moving. CCL, we take this short here at 13.20. We take some out at 88 there. That was our best out. We'll see if it can't continue to fall down here. CCL with a nice little sell at 13. I'm holding this until 13.40, so hopefully that can come through. But right now, Softy 40-cent winner, so little NBA action there. I heard that they may come back and do some kind of a tournament, so we're going to wait to see how that works. But right now, CCL to the downside and Microsoft to the long side. Let's go.
Yeah, here comes that Oxy at that 11 even. You can see we did take some short 17. We are out some at 6. It's trying to break through that 11 even right now. We want to add through that price, but Greg couldn't even get American Airlines on that break. Unfortunately, you see 13 go. We did try to cross into it. It's already down at 12.65. It was basically a free money short if you're able to get any shares off of that offer, but we couldn't catch it there. Brendan, what do you got for us, buddy?
Another virus name, guys. Alpha Pro Tech, APT. We've talked about this one numerous times on the show, moving higher this morning, up about 26%. Not seeing news on this one, but this was one of the face masks makers from way back when, one of the original face mask makers. APT on the run, guys.
Yeah, APT, obviously everyone freaking out about masks, so I think that makes a lot of sense. We're dumping some of our soft here. It's come back down below 153, so we're holding. There it goes, bang! Nice little win again on Microsoft. We get some out there, but now blowing up to the upside. So Microsoft right now, this is a 50-cent winner. CCL, wow, this is a 30-cent winner. We got a nice amount of shares on right here, guys. Look at this trade. Bang, short here, bang, short here. Carnival Cruise Lines, see you later. This one to the south side. We'll have to take some out right now. 40-cent win here on CCL, boys.
Yeah, quick look at both of our shorts. Oxy still working on that 11 even area. We're in the money on that one, but SPCB, we got that short in front of 115. It talked about waiting till it opened up, already giving you a 10% return, and it's barely even moved. We can get back below $1. We can maybe get down to that 90-cent area. We're short at 112 here, where the players dwell apparently, and my stop is at that 115 like we mentioned. Oxy is waging a heck of a battle here on the bid at 11. It's just complete insanity. It's been sitting here for the greater part of the last 5 minutes, holding at 11. I want to add to my position on this break, but it's got to get through that price. We already took some profits out.
Yeah, guys, and we're hitting home runs right now all over the place. CCL. Big winner, huge winner, guys. This is monstrous. We're starting our day off right. Hit the cowbells, guys. CCL, I gave this one to you. Bang, bang. We'll tweet this out. What a huge winner there. You roll the dice a little bit on some of these, and yes, paid off huge right now. This is a multiple penny win. This is a 77 penny winner on a $12 name. CCL for the win, guys. I don't know what to do, but bang, explode that money here. We're gonna, wow, still following it down. I have to take some of these out. This is a monster winner for me, guys.
Absolutely. Good look on CCL.
Wow.
We're phoning here, guys. Apple back up to that 252 mark, and we said there could be some chop. That's exactly what you're seeing. It got to 53, but sliding back down as the market is coming back in, still 1%. Oxy finally goes to the downside, so this is what we're looking for.
Oxy.
This one will floss it off. It breaks that 11 after battling it out for so long. Couldn't even add to the position, but we got 11.17. It just headed down towards the 85 there. We'll see if we can't take some out in the 80s. This is what we're talking about. Also going to be reloading SPCB if we get anything in the 10s and teens. That one's working pretty well. Abbott Labs continuing to hold a lot of weakness below 82 there, Sean.
Guys, I mean, roll the dice, and again, nice trade, Neil, but I don't know what to hit again. Let's do chicken dinner winner. We take that Oxy as well, breaking through 11, decent amount of shares, and bang! One thing here, Brendan, I know you might have some news on this one, but Carnival right now halted, but who's got the shares on? This guy does. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't like to hold shares through halts, but whatever. We are in the money now. $1. We're short 13.05. Last print 12.19. So that's raining through. And here goes Oxy, guys. You take, decent amount of shares here through 11, and boom goes the dynamite. It's siren time. But okay, Brendan, what's up?
Yeah, just on that CCL, guys, that's an additional information request halt for CCL.
Yeah,
so I'll look into that a little bit more. Wanted to mention this one as well. Nordic American Tankers, little tanker stock moving higher this morning in a big way on massive volume here, 450, straight to $5 on NAT in New York, guys.
We started that Oxy short at 11.17. We add to it on the 11 break. It's now breaking through 10.64. So Oxy getting absolutely crushed. We were giving it to you this 11 even area the entire time the battle was waged. Just slip in those shares, add to your position, start a position, whatever it is. It's now down to 10.60. Good place for a trail, at least I think. If it gets back maybe 10.80 or so, I'll probably get out of these shares. But sell side is the name of the game. I only have a couple of shorts on, so I've shown you one. I'll go back to the other. Brennan, all about you mentioning SPCB there. We do jump into this one. It's trying to get back to that penny stock status, which I would like. Short at $1.13 here. Going to take some out as a responsible thing to do. As a big buyer at 102, we'll take that out for will be a 10% win on a dollar stock. This is what we like. Abbott Labs continues to flush, so this is why you got to get out at that 82 level. 80 even is approaching on Abbott.
Yeah, great. Look, we made a keystroke error and got out of Microsoft there right here at 150. I mean, basically for flat. So did not want to get out of Microsoft. I meant to put a trail in there, and it got triggered on one of these bad wicks all the way down. So we'll wait on that one. Yeah, good look on Oxy, guys. We talked about in that pre-market. I wrote down right here $11.10. Unfortunately, I missed that, but heard Neil talking about it and hopped right in and just marketed in shares here at 11.01. So that was such a fantastic trade now. So we're still on this one, 40 plus pennies. Check out the profits below, guys.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the show. CCL, I can't wait till this one opens up. We're still short, guys. 13.05 here. Decent amount, a couple hundred shares still left. So
oh my God, American. I'm still sitting here with my failed offer on the 13 break. I can go ahead and cancel that. Why? Because 12 is about to break on AAL. Got absolutely flushed out. Greg, great look on that one. 15% to the downside now. Crazy, crazy action there. Kevin, you're asking about Pfizer. What do I think today? We'll add that one to our quote board. Pfizer is a name that I got myself in trouble because, you know, in this expanded volatility, Pfizer is a name that doesn't always have as much, and it makes it a solid stock in general. Doesn't always make it the easiest day trade. I love the strength that it's showing in this little move to the downside here, but if we keep falling, and get back out to even on the futures, it'll be hard for it to hold up. That being said, if we can turn around, I love the strength that it's showing. Maybe we can pick something up in this range if we level out here in the futures, and then or a breakout through 31.65. Either way, it's showing a tremendous amount of strength. Unlike our good friend Oxy, which is now down to 10.54. So, you know, at some level, you got to have some outs or some desired profit levels to take. Worth noting, if you go way back here, you can certainly see there was a bit of a level at 10.21. That's going to be the next one, next shoe to drop there on the 25th.
21.25. Yeah, I'm also looking at Apple here. Yeah, we still got Oxy. That's a 50-cent winner. And oh, did Carnival open back up? No, it did not. Sorry. So we'll wait on that one. So right now we have a 50-cent winner with Oxy and a 90-cent winner with CCL, but that is pending right now. Here's Oxy. Looks like it will break that 10.50. So a great look there. I'm really glad that we went over and traded that one. Okay, BAC was the next look that I wanted to give you guys. 21.43. Again, I'm not sure what's up with all these wicks here on today's charts, but the bottom here is 21.25. Love to take that short. We will see about it if it comes through. 21.25 BAC right now down 1%. If these futures continue to fade out, Kevin, those of you that have watched us on the show, we've picked BAC and done quite nicely on it. Wait to see if it breaks through the bottom. But Mr. Wickens, what else, bud?
One that's moving was in the vaccine space, guys, but this is Inovio Pharmaceuticals. This is not related to the coronavirus. They had a successful breakthrough on one of their cancer treatments. So INO getting a nice pop here, more than 10% to the upside today, guys.
Good look on INO. I'm going to now slide my trailing stop on Oxy. I talked about 1080. You can forget about that now. There was a pre-market bottom at 70, but I'm going to slide it all the way down to 1060 on my trailing stop. Our second entry was an 11 break. We got 95s in that one. 1117s where we started. You just want to take profit. And I looked at that 1020 level as well. That could be the next stop to the downside. I will be getting out if we can get that price. Crazy movement to the downside in Oxy. But American was almost, well, not almost. American was even better. American Airlines there, looking at that $12 level. So moving that stop, see if we can't lock in some profits.
Yeah, and CCL is open. Here's $1. Welcome, guys. Dollar winner on CCL. Again, we still have a couple hundred shares, so that's a nice one for sure. Apple, we're short right now as well. 250.25 right here, so we take that short on that break of the quarter. It does go in the money 20 pennies here. We've got to wait for these futures. As you see, they're battling back just a little bit, but right now CCL, that's the trade that I'm looking at right now and trying to get get out of a little bit of these. Our best out there on the bottom was 06. So we absolutely crushed CCL today. What a great trade that's been. Apple moving against us a little bit as these futures go. Might be a good time to average in, but I am going to take some out on CCL. Brendan, let us know what that was. If it was just it was news pending, I think you said. So we'll see, or information request on CCL right now. It does open back up. So Oxy right now, 45 cents, and Brendan has something. What's up?
Yeah, guys, there's some rumors flying around out of China, actually, that there were some deaths aboard one of their cruise ships, and they were talking about some liabilities as a result of that, obviously due to the coronavirus, but no confirmation on any of this, just some rumors on the internet so far, guys.
All right, so that's obviously what it is.
So we'll go with fall in a hole, not me, but the stock itself, and that's going to be Oxy. It does hit our trail just barely, but bouncing back above that 1060, so you'll lock in the profit, which is fine on that one, but you can certainly see maybe gave up about an extra 20 cents there. Could have had a 1040 bottom, starting this one at 17s, adding it at 95 there on the way down. We still have SPCB with a hard stop at 115. That's the other position, but worth noting, and Sean, you mentioned Apple there at 250 or so. 250 was that key pivot area, so you really want to watch out for that, just to be sure. If it breaks through that 250, could get a real flush, or if it bounces, sort of the other thing. I was waiting for that 250 for a break. I got my stop order in, so we're ready to go here, just pennies away from that right now.
Yeah, we still got that as well. I'm going to hold on to that as much as I can here. Just tweeting out this Carnival Cruise trade here. What a great opportunity that was for us as well on the downside. And Carnival Cruise right now still going. We still got hundreds on here as we're now breaking through $12. I'm short, guys, $13.20 right now on Carnival. Look at this big level of $12. Adios, amigos, as we continue to go. Bye-bye, Oxy. So explode the wow, this is multiple right now. $1.35 in the money. Look at Apple. 40 cents in the money right now and still going down. Look at Oxy, 50 cents now down and still going down. So right now you're with me, guys. You have a $1.50 winner on CCL. You have 50 cents on Apple, and there's 50 cents on Oxy.
And we got another halt here, Sean. You were halted in one name. I'm now halted in another. We talked about SPCB at $1.15. We shorted in front of it. We got out and it broke that $1 mark, 10% move on the short. We reversed to the long on that break of 115. We were getting out here already as it moved up to 126. Volatility halts to the upside on SPCB. We'll watch that one open up. We're long, so we're in the right direction of this halt. Worth noting here, you'll zoom out. That's the pre-market top that got taken out there, 125. We're long in front of it at 118. No key levels until about 150 or so to the upside. So let's watch this one closely when it opens up in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Our good friend Mr. Wonderful must love these trades because he'll be back on with us Wednesday, dialing in. Kevin O'Leary, ladies and gentlemen, back. I think it was Wednesday. Was that the note that I got there? Let's see. Yeah, Wednesday. Wow, good job on that one. So thanks to everybody working really hard. We'll throw some cash around to have Mr. Kevin O'Leary back on the show here. I'll ask him more questions about watches. That should be fun. Okay, we did cash out of our Apple a little bit for that. Well, we're short at 29. We got some out at 84. That's a 70-cent winner. As the market's coming back upside, though, we are now out of the money on this Apple trade. Short, though. We only got out of a third. We're going to give it to about 251 here backside. But look at CCL, guys. The money just keeps coming in. Hit the sirens. We're now down to today's low. We actually touched 70. I've been getting out here in the 80s. What a great trade here on CCL. $1.35 winner. Wow. On a $12 name.
Look at this American Airlines. Bounces off the bottom here at 12 even. It did flush. It looks like it got to 1180. Bounces off to about 1230 or so before coming all the way back down to the low. That Apple bouncing off that 250, sort of that key price that we were mentioning there. So, you know, one of those things, I get in on the break, we immediately get out when it doesn't want to go. I want to get you to a name that was moving. A Cheesecake Factory was up significantly. I mean, we're as high as $20 in the pre-market, just getting absolutely crushed on the way back down. I did have a level that we just bounced off, which is 16. I wanted to see what happened when we tested there. About a 70-cent range was the low. 16 to 16.70 is the key price range. It just went through that entire range while at the bottom, but keep in mind, it was $19 just before the market opened, so not your average $16 stock. It's going to move quite a bit. I love the breakout either direction from here. It takes that bottom or we take out that 17. I'm going to be involved either way.
Maybe Valeria can grab us a coffee a little bit early here. I'm almost out.
I'm down with that.
I'd leave, but or we can. Oh, there she goes. Oh, thanks, Valeria. Wow, that was really quick. What great service. Okay. Valeria on the coffee run. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just looking at Oxy here off 1050. We're still short 1101. It's up to 50-cent winner. Check our profits down below, guys. You'll see that we've been absolutely crushing it today. I'm almost out of all my CCL, though. Just under 100 shares now left as we go bang, bang, the double kill here. Short initially on that break. We didn't take it early. Obviously, there was that big market sell imbalance. Would have loved to have it up here at 1350. I was watching it the full way. Then I said enough is enough. We take that bottom break of 1287, average in at 1325. That probably would have punched a lot of people out, but you got to believe in the trade. And then you cash in a lot down here below 12 off that little halt. So good move there. I obviously do not wish that there was more cases on that boat, but you can see that does cause this to fall back down. And you cash it in now, and we wipe our hands. We are done of that when we've averaged into Apple, waiting for 251 to break. If that does break, then there you go, guys. I'll actually give you a loser, unfortunately.
Yeah, just having a quick look at as the market's trying to bounce here, still at that 25, just below that 25.50 mark actually. But look at Softy here continuing to run, so the relative strength is certainly there. I'm sitting there talking about maybe this one instead of an Apple.
Oh my God,
and then,
Softy.
Yeah, bye Softy. So a bit of a mistake not to have this one and focus on it. But Apple's still bouncing off that 250. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Carvana, guys, big move down here, still positive on the day, but CVNA just got flushed from 59 all the way down to 50 bucks. They announced an offering shortly after the open this morning, guys.
You want to talk about a mistake there. I was talking about putting this order out on Softy and getting out. My initial Softy long was a long of 154 there, and you can see now 156. So sorry about that one, guys. We'll fall in a hole, and we'll put my order executions into the gates of hell because we should still be long. Look, we'd only be long about half of our initial, actually less, probably about 25% of our initial position. That's what we got out there on these wicks. So apologize for that one. We'll have to work a little bit more on our stop orders there and figure out which one's the best to use. But okay, Abbott fading back down. I have not made a trade in that one. I kind of wanted to settle down because I had such a huge bias. I know Neil did as well. We were all thinking that Abbott was going to bust itself out to the top side. I did have an order to go long at 84.50. That never hit, thank God. But now you're just coming back to the downside. Not really certain why. Obviously the market now moving upside. So Abbott Labs, maybe like J&J, if we can find this out, maybe they're just not selling these testing kits for a very high profit margin, which would make sense in these times. But Abbott really getting faded back down. I thought this would have been a beautiful long today. A little disappointed, to be honest with you, that this hasn't come through. If it does break 81 though, Neil, I'll be back in. A
bit of a beautiful long on that SPCB. Talked about the reversal at 115, got 118. It then halted at 125. It opens back up. We took some out there at 135, so you make 10% on the way down. You make 15% on the way up. Still holding a little bit of our position here at that 118 mark. I did mention to you guys, we talked about this in the pre-market, that 150 was the next significant level. So I will trim this in front of that and then see if we can hold for a further break. You never really know where these things are going to go. You just follow the price action. These small caps, or as Brendan mentioned, micro caps can get absolutely crazy. 140, bit of an iceberg that just broke. So I will take some shares off at around that 144, 145 mark, see if we can't get some, and then hold through 150 and get that home run trade. I mean, it's already been pretty good. See if we can't trim it out here. I'm loving SPCB sort of back into these names after a little bit of a hiatus last week on some of the smaller caps.
Nice one, I like it, hiatus. Okay, we are looking here to take a long-term look on BAC. They did not hit, they did not hit our trigger price, which almost did, down here at the day's low, 21.25. Now I like this long as BAC enjoying this market move up. You can see a nice little 30 cent to the upside here. If we can take out this little level, 21.63 or 4 right now, we'll go long on BAC. We've let our Carnival Cruise kind of cruise back up to the upside here. Our last out was 30. We're very, very light on this one, but still a 70-cent winner. Right now I'm focusing mostly on BAC. What's up?
We were talking about Teva, guys, in the pre-market. Teva Pharmaceuticals and Novartis as well, moving higher here. But Teva, big pop on decent volume, 780 all the way up above $8 now. 7.5% moving higher, guys.
Good look on that one. Going to move my stop to $1.25. That was that breakout price on that SPCB. But I also want to throw an update to scoreboard for you. Not scoreboard, the position board. We still have a couple of positions on. One of them, of course, is just going to be SPCB at $1.18. That's sitting at 142. Looking for a 150 break. We did jump into Cheesecake Factory there, short in front of that 17. That's a reversal play. 1678. Our target range was 16 to 1670 or so. So we're short in front of that 17, even looking to reverse if we get that opportunity. opportunity on a breakout. That stock was up significantly, now only about 3 or 4% or so. So that's the two positions we're working with. We're still scanning that 250 level on Apple, which we're right back to right now. So it could be an interesting break if the futures cannot hold. This little top, Valeria, thank you so much. We got our fuel, jet fuel right there. I'll cheers you virtually or something like, I don't know, symbolically there, Sean, when you get yours.
Yeah, okay, great. We did go short there, BAC at 21.54, so I was looking for a long. Now it fades back through. Where? Thank you, Valeria. Cheers. Thank you so much. You're well within 6 feet here, though, Valeria. I don't know what's happening here, social distancing or not. We're just joking. We're just joking around. Okay, here we go. BAC right now, 7 pennies into the money as we're short 54, 8 pennies. So we just keep going downside here on BAC. My biggest missed opportunity was getting out of that Microsoft, but whatever. This idea on BAC right now, ranging through short 21.54. We'll get out of half here. Again, remember, when you're trading these smaller price stocks, I take a lot of shares, so you can get out of them halfway and still make a decent profit. What's up, Brandon?
MITT, guys, a name we were looking at last week a little bit. MITT in New York moving back to the upside after a gap down this morning. They announced they've suspended their quarterly dividend going forward. These investment trusts and mortgage REITs got crushed last week. A lot of them moving around still today. Looks like MITT. Back to the upside, though, guys.
Good
Out
look
of
there.
my Apple, now it's all the way back
Guys, a
down.
name that we haven't talked about here, Dave & Buster's with a big flush off of the open. Just saw this now through 14 even. Bit of a retracement play to 13. Just having a quick look. We can see that it was sort of basing out there off a nice bounce at $5. Big time movement to the upside. Of course, the name that got absolutely crushed, certainly all of from February here. But now that it's headed back to the south side, you could maybe look at that 13, 14 area as a little bit of a base if you're going to be a shorter on this name. And I keep looking at this Apple at 250, back and forth and back and forth. I got to stay away from it because it's just sitting there whipping around with the futures that have not moved much. We've hung around that 1% up or down, and you're getting away from a name like a Microsoft, which is just so relatively strong that it's only been going up. And you can look at the rocket ship to the upside, no significant pullback yet. Watch for 154 and a retracement here. I'm certainly looking at that one on Softy. It's just SPCB. We're still long. And then, of course, that little short that we have over there in Cheesecake Factory at 16.78 as well, in front of 17 even.
Yeah, it's really too bad that I had to get out of my Apple trade. That was, I mean, look at this one, guys. It does come all the way back down to 250 when we were short 250.70. Unfortunately, it does break that 251 and we have to get out. And then like Neil mentioned there, Softy, what a missed opportunity. We hammered that one early. I'm not going to make that mistake and get out of things like this too much. BAC though, guys, you could see nice little move there. We get some out at 45. So great little trade on Bank of America. Out of 40% of that one for multiple like dimes right here, dime right there, and about 12 cents right there. So nice little win. We're still holding our short on CCL. It's not really moving. I'll probably put a bid down here, 12.20 or so. See if we can't get out of some. But right now, that's an 81-cent winner. Let's try the position board again. Let's see if I can update this and see if it's going to work out for us today. Yeah, this is not bad. Okay, we'll start this up. I think this looks right. BAC right now short 12. What happened? Turn around. Oh, okay. BAC, whatever. Where's the board? There it is. Okay. BAC right now, guys, short 21.54. That's 10 cents in the money, 82 cents in the money on CCL. And as I see, Oxy right now, a clean 47 cents in the money. So that's the board right there. As we figure out our cameras, thank you for reminding me on that one, Rob.
A quick look at the crude oil here. At that $20 mark, and so Oxy basically basing out as well. I think it's going to be worthwhile noting if we're going to hold that bottom, you're going to get a possible bounce opportunity as I just slide in there on Dave & Buster's, our first short. I talked about that bounce play, 1365-ish area is our stop. Going to work into a position around 50 if we can get an average price there, short in Dave & Buster's. But I'm watching Oxy, potential break back. If it wants to fill in some of this gap, any kind of a bounce in oil should be a good base here. Of course, we got out on a trailing stop at 1060. It's held above that 1020 level that we mentioned. Could be some support. So you have a bit of a stop area there, or you can use the low of the day if you want to test the waters on a long. Just watch to make sure crude holds above that $20 mark. If it dips below, could get real ugly real fast on that name.
Yeah, hi G1 there. I do see what you're talking about, and yeah, that does mean long. So we have some graphics we could hit as well. Blues just mean buys. So right here on BAC, for example, and maybe I can make this a little bit bigger for you. See, because of these wicks here, it's bad, but here we go. The purple will be a short sell, and then all of these blues are just buys. So in this situation, if you look down below, you'll see right now that I'm short BAC at 21.54. So I've bought it here at 47, bought it back at 46 twice as we go. So the very same thing here on CCL. Short right here at 12.88, and then short here at 13.20. You could see all the way back, and we do actually have a little bit of a thing here. Let's sell short sell arrow, so we can hit that to tell you what we are doing. But CCL right now absolutely destroying that one as we go. Wow, CCL back into the 20s. So you know what? We can do whatever you want, but either way, it's going to be a catapult, G1, because this is a dollar winner on CCL. We've already cashed out $1.50 to the downside. Let's go.
A quick bouncer. We talked about that American Airlines. Great call, of course, by Greg there in the chat at 14 even on that, 13 even on that break. But we are getting a bit of a base and a bottom here. Watch out for 12.50 on a retrace. It's very similar to the chart that we just looked at in Dave & Buster's, except maybe a little bit weaker overall. I'm looking at basically the same type of structure, but I got to get over to our other short. And that, of course, is going to be in Cheesecake Factory, rolling over a little bit there. So you catch this pull back to 17. We already had a target range. We grabbed the short at 78. Now it looks like it's trying to head southbound back to that low of the day. You want to get some out in front of the low in case you get the break. Not a terrible place to add if you can get it when 16 does go. Right now, headed in the money for us, 1678 to the south side. And a break on SPCB. So thank you very much. 150 does go. We managed to hang on to some shares just in case. It's up 200% now. 150 goes. I'm going to slide my stop to that 150 mark to make sure we lock in that profit. 118 we're long right now. So already in the money about 40 pennies on this one. A 30% plus move on SPCB this morning. Brendan, great look on this small cap.
Yeah, I wish I got to pay more attention to these small caps. Look at that, guys. Such a clean move here through this. Yeah, Ray Neal's long here, 115, 118. What a great move there. I'll have to look at these a little more carefully, just breaking this day's high. About as simple as it goes there, guys. Great look. Good thing that Neal has that because, right to the upside. SPCB, of course, good move there. So we're just cruising here. We still got Oxy as it breaks down the day's low right now. This is a 56 penny winner, so we still have that one on. We're looking for more trades here, guys. If you could put it in the chat, if there's anything you guys want us to look at. Here comes XOM right down to 36 as well. For some reason, my charts on my screen aren't necessarily working either, so we'll have to see what's going on maybe with the internet connection here, but $36 to the downside here on XOM, looking pretty good.
Yeah, good look on that one. I'm going to get us to another name that, look, I haven't traded it yet, and maybe we should be having a look for, showing a lot of weakness here. A bit of a flush itself, down 4%, but the key thing is it's back below that magical $5 mark, which was a good level on the way back in, holding below it right now. So if we get a bit of a base here on Ford below 5, this could be a nice place to work yourself into a short position. I can tell you that Dave & Buster's, as I look at this one and maybe throw some orders, Dave & Buster's, which we just gave to you as a bit of a short, this one's rolling over, so it's rolling over just like we are over in cake, and of course that's Cheesecake Factory. So I'm looking for a 13 break. Once we get through there, we can start thinking about some profit taking on this 13.40 short in Dave & Buster's. Wow, is it already past 10 o'clock? I can't believe it's past 10 o'clock. That means we're going to be going in just a few seconds here to our good friend Brendan Wickens. He's going to be at the big screen for Happening Now, but two shorts in the money, Dave & Buster's and Cheesecake Factory, still in that long in SPCB, although that trail at 150 could come into play. We'd lock in about 30 cents or so, a nice little win there, but it is time for Happening Now with Brendan Wickens at the big screen.
Hey guys, just waiting for that U.S. pending home sales number we were talking about for February. 2.4% to the upside versus about a 0.5% gain that was expected. So better than expected pending home sales numbers in February. Let's go to the North American board here and have a look at how things are shaping up so far. A bit of a mixed session here. We have the S&P up about 0.73%. The Dow actually just went negative on the session, so down about 0.1% there for the Dow. Tech stocks leading once again to the upside, more than 1.5% for the NASDAQ. The Russell back in negative territory today, about 1% to the downside. So mixed session to start the week. Here in Toronto, the TSX 0.74% to the downside. Brazil's higher by 0.75%. So overall, there you go. The Dow's back in positive territory. So a little bit of a flat session so far for the Dow 30. Let's shift over if we can and have a look at some things that are moving in Toronto. Yeah, that's not the right one. I'm not sure that one's going to work, guys. So yeah, some of the cannabis names back to the upside here in Toronto, guys. Energy stocks to the downside. So overall, cannabis strong once again. Energy stocks offsetting things coming back to the downside. But overall, nice look here. Positive territory for the most part right across the board. Back to you guys.
All right, I'm still trying to figure out my charts.
Still positive here on Abbott Labs. So we had a flush out off the open. We talked about how this one failed for us there. It bounces off 78.40, but that 80 mark that we're looking at just bounced off, looking like it wants to recover. The market, again, and I can go to the NQ and maybe show you what's happening with the NASDAQ futures. We're trying to bust it. We've gotten through that 7,700 mark a couple of times here and then have stalled out and maybe turned around. But you are seeing some upward movement. The ES is trailing us right now. So we're almost 2% up on the NASDAQ ES, and that's the S&P 500 futures. Following, but not too closely, trying to get its high of the day. You're certainly seeing a name like a Microsoft and some of those stronger techs bumping us up here in the NQ. I am looking at this Abbott Labs on the retrace on this pullback and just not seeing a tremendous amount of strength. It cannot even get back to VWAP or that 82 mark where we stopped out ultimately of that long position. So I'm going to watch for that 82 on a retrace. We're just working with a couple of shorts in a long, which SPCB, I don't know where it's going to go, and I'm going to tell you what the structure is going to be for me with these last shares. We're going to let it ride and just keep moving our stop up. So it was at 150. We make another leg to the upside. We're just going to trail it up here to 160 if we can. It's at $1.75. It's like 57 cents in the money. We're just going to let this one run. 175 is on the offer here. If it can take this one out, or maybe even a halt again, maybe that'll be the reason why we get out. But 160 is now where our trail is. And there, talked about it, and it halts almost instantly. So I'm not going to have a stop order when it's halted. I don't want it to open back up and automatically trigger me out. We can go manual on this. We're playing with house money here. The reversal long at 118 took some out on the scalp. 125 was the pre-market high. Took some when it broke that. We got some more shares at 35, some at 140. Now we're looking to ride for the big time upside on the last 10% of the position. That's what we like to do here. Now that we've halted, however, I'm not going to be afraid to short this one. If I get a halt and an open lower and it holds that high, I like that reversal play. However, sometimes it's a little better after 3-4 halts on some of these smaller micro cap names there. So that's the look we're having. SPCB, big time winner, looking to do more after the halt.
Yeah, exactly. We've been in a few different halt positions so far today. I switched over to long BAC. Unfortunately, in this new spot here, it looks like there's continued to be connection problems. Okay, we do go long Abbott Labs here, though, at least $80.70 right now. We are long Abbott Labs, 80.69, so we take that on this break back up. It's been as low as 78, so we are aware of that this could come right back down. We'll use something like $80.30 or so as a stop right now, but we're long Abbott Labs right now, and it should be a decent move here to go to the north side on Abbott. So right now, take a couple hundred shares long right now, 80.74. We are switching long to BAC as well right now, so that one's coming through. Hopefully that can make its way up. I don't know. Can we get to the day's high? I would like to see that up into the 70s right now. So Abbott Labs, BAC, CCL, and we still got Oxy, guys. This is an 80-cent winner on a $10 name, so decent little return for us. CCL, we've cashed out here in the 20s and 30s. Right now, holding a very, very small position. Probably just get out of that one. By far, my number one stock today here, Abbott CCL, guys.
Quick look at Gilead here. 76.50 was that mark that we were watching. It did turn around one time after testing it at 35. So it got 15 pennies away, very, very close to that mark. Still have a stop order to break long, but with the futures failing to make some new highs, we could try fading this one with a reversal to the long side. It's going to give you a good price. The market's not going to be going too much here, so I will test my hand at a short. And again, we know this stock has been choppy. That's why I like to be exposed to both directions if we can. And you have one level to play off of. That means I'm going to short in front of it and reverse along only if it breaks. So I got the high of the day. I also have that 76.50 area that we can play with. Gilead starting that short here at 76.10. Probably add to it at 20 or so, and then that'll be it until we reverse to the long side. We still have that short, of course, in Cheesecake Factory. That's basically flat. Same thing with our Dave & Buster's short. And we're waiting for SPCB to reopen possibly in the next 2 minutes or so.
That'd be nice to see that one come back through open now. Yeah, I'm just kind of dicking around here with BAC. It's not doing much right now, kind of just hovering around. If it breaks back down below this 40 level, we will get out as the futures turning around just a little bit for us here. Abbott Labs still just hovering here as well. Unfortunately, like I was mentioning, some of my charts not working here. So Abbott Labs, $80. We'll use 80.30 here as our out. We'll probably talk about getting out some there. I'd love for it to break through 81. That's when I know we'll have a decent winner, but we're long right here with a lot of volume. 19 million shares today, so Abbott Labs continues to be a strong name to look at for us. CCL still down. Abbott Labs and BAC right now are the big three that I have on.
Great looks on all of those. Worth looking at another airline, discount airline here, and you're going to look at Save. It's also down 17%. Of course, Greg mentioned that great play on AAL, but we have some consolidation, tight consolidation here between 12.20 and 12.50 on this name. There's no way it's going to hold that 30-cent range for too long. The overall weakness in the space does give you the opportunity to maybe take this break to the south side. If it fails, you have a nice tight stop here at 12.50, so you're only risking 30 cents and slippage, and that's sort of the amount past your stop that you're not able to execute at. So I'm going to have a break on Save at 12.20. Going to have a stop here at 12.50. I only want to risk about 30 pennies. If it does take out that low, and then you do have a low here at 11.60, which gives you some upside. But it's all about the structure of the trade. You're not taking that unless you have that tight stop and protection to the downside.
Yes. Okay, this is why I have to switch up some of my passwords here. Okay, so right here, Abbott Labs, we do get out a little bit here at 60, basically for flat. That was 20%. We are going to hold, again, like I was saying, about an 80-25 or so break on that one until that one comes through. But right now, Abbott Labs, BAC, CCL keeps going. BAC still back here, 21.57. We're long 21.64. Looking for more, guys. Microsoft was a great trade, but we did drop that one. Like I said, holy shit, way too early. Still up to 157.50 right now and going. So we definitely had that Microsoft trade. I feel bad for dropping it, but look, we gave you the idea. I hope you guys had that with me and still hold on. Let me know in the chat if you still do have that one, guys. What's up, Brendan?
OMI, guys, already sitting in minor here up 42%. Looks like it was halted right off the bat this morning before opening a little bit after 9:30. We just ripped all the way up to $9. Bit of a pullback here, back to $8 for OMI. Not seeing any news other than the CEO disposition, some shares sold. So not a big news story, but OMI moving around, guys.
We're going to hit the home run. SPCB, the trade is done for us. It opens back up. It tries to test through the high. The halt was at 175. We're long at 118 there on that reversal. It tries to get past that mark. Once it retraces it, I mentioned to you how you can maybe get that last halt and then the test to the downside. Well, I'm not saying I'm shorting it yet, but certainly that's a good place to cover. We're now looking to see if it can hold this top at 185. If it does do that, and you get any kind of consolidation, I'll jump to the reverse end of that trade at some point in these high flyers. You got to take it off. It might continue to go further, but I'm now looking for this one to slow down and possibly catch a bit of a short whenever that does happen. So nice win on SPCB. We'll turn our attention to a few other names as Gilead is breaking up towards that 76.50 mark. So watch for the reversal on that one. And another halt on SPCB just keeps halting over and over again.
Yeah, these names just keep going crazy. I'll have to take a look at SPCB as well, but yeah, still moving upside. So right now I'm still fooling around with all of my stuff over here, but CCL Oxy, we could dump some Oxy here, might as well. It went down as high as low as 10.20. We don't have too many shares right now. This is a 66 penny winner that we do have on board right now, waiting to see if that one can come through or not for us, even to the lower side, even lower than this. XOM's another big one, of course, $36. We gave you guys that break. Only goes as low as 35.89 there. So I think XOM Probably going to be a strong one here as the market continues to rock and roll here. Upside, you can see some oil numbers, still oil down 6.5%, so not looking healthy as far as that is concerned on the oil front.
Looking, Greg, they're relatively weak in a Tesla here. As much as the NASDAQ is leading the way to the upside, you cannot include Tesla in terms of the strength. It's down 3%. It's just slid back towards that $500 level. There was a bit of a bounce at 490 that's worth looking at. So now it's in that consolidation range, which I can't stand at this time of day. You get that, between after the morning rush, you get 10 to 10:30, whatever it might be, and you get these tighter consolidations. You're looking for breaks out of these ranges. So, it's broken a couple of times past 500 and then basically just faked you out. So I'm waiting to see if it gets out of this $10 range, and then we'll be all over looking at Tesla for a potential break. It's looked relatively weak for me, so it's a future slide off here. You're probably looking to sell on the break to the downside, but right now we're looking to Brendan Wickens at the big screen for upgrades and downgrades.
Hey guys, a couple of things moving around. As far as upgrades and downgrades go this morning, let's have a look at a few of them here. Canada Goose, want to mention this one, 2% move. Nice gap to the upside this morning if you're looking at it here in Toronto on the TSX, holding that 2% move. Google, Alphabet, down 0.5% even with an upgrade today. Kimberly-Clark and PG. Gap, Hilton, Marriott, 3M, all to the downside. Marriott, Gap. The leaders so far, 5+% moves. We've been talking about the hotels over the past couple of weeks, still getting crushed today. Some of the cruise lines as well under pressure. Let's, if we can, guys, shift over here and we'll have a look at Canada Goose here in Toronto. Big gap, as I mentioned, to the upside. Holding this gap now. We did get a test back down to these levels from Friday, holding 28.20 now as support. We're back above where we opened for Goose. You can obviously trade this one in New York as well. One more here. We'll shift over to, no, that's still the same one. The other one I wanted to look at was Marriott moving to the downside. If you have a look at that one in New York. Guys, back over to you.
Thanks a lot there, Brennan. Looking at that consolidation on the pullback in Abbott Labs, you can see it got off that 78.40. We bounced now in a consolidation like we just showed over there in Tesla. Tried to break to the upside, so we took this long on the little breakout. This is what you're sort of hoping for. You want that retracement back to 82. That was that key level. So easy structured trade here. You're long in this tight range in between 80.30 or so and 80.70, and then you're working that 80 bottom over there on Abbott Labs. Of course, we're still waiting for SPCB to open up there, as it's halted once again, but it'll be back open in about a minute or so.
Yeah, we've got that Abbott Labs right now, same thing right near 80.69 long right here, and we've had to hold it a little bit, but yeah, it's not really moving. If we could take out this top, that would be pretty sweet. We'll probably add to this position if we can get through 81.15 or so and change, but right now holding out for a larger move coming in Abbott Labs. Let's check out our friend J&J as well. Wow, 130, yeah, so that was the missed opportunity for sure. What did I write down? 129.50. So broke through there today. That's kind of been a little bit of garbage up to the top side here. This top of 130.70. If that could get taken out, then good for you guys, J&J. Strongest balance sheet probably in the Dow. So nice to see them come through today. 130.70 on J&J. Let's smash that to the long side as well, as the futures look like they're coming right back. And here comes BAC as well, guys. Yeah,
and another name which is coming right back is JP Morgan. Makes a nice, look at this bottom here. We're talking about this 89.20 to 40 or so. That it's just held all morning long after that initial flush. The negative to positive story would be at 91 even, but we're back above the $90 area. So for me, it's not to say that you have to bottom pick, but with the market looking like it wants to get up there, the ES finally making its move. Let's step into the best of the breed in the banks here. In a JPM, you already made a nice base. You have a nice little bottom to work off of. Now you have $90 as well that you can look at for a bit of base of operation. So want to pick something up here, 90.15, 90.16 if we can, something around that price, and we get a nice little long here at 16s we just took on JPM in front of 90 even. You also have a base here at 89.20 if you want to extend things a little bit further. Still waiting for SPCB to make its move back, opening up, and Abbott's basically holding flat, but SPCB just opened at 190. Wow. Kind of feel like we should have allowed this one to go a little bit further. You just don't know how far these are going to go. It is continuing, but look, it's slowed down a little bit here, holding below $2. If this one slides to the downside, I'm watching that 160 to 175 area that we got at. Once we're back below there, maybe another halt. You're starting to short this trade and look for that nice little breakout and a gap retracement to the downside.
Yeah, we've got everything going on. Let's go Abbott Labs right now. We're long 80.69, so a nice little trade right here. When you have decent amount of shares, decent, nice little look here. Get out. So right here, Abbott Labs to the top side. And here you go again, guys. Your boy gives you this one, little move upside. And there it is, another 40, 50-cent winner on Abbott Labs. That one continues to go to the top side. We also have J&J long right now. And bang goes the dynamite on that one. That's a quick 20-cent winner. So J&J long, Abbott Labs long right now, 46 cents. Everything coming into the money here. We've got Abbott long, Bank of America long, CCL short, J&J long, and Oxy short. They're all right now cash money. So hopefully you guys are able to see that with us. I'm going to hit a money one that we haven't done yet so far. We'll throw the cash all over the place as this market just continues to go upside. Look at J&J. Let's go, buddy. Let's go Abbott Labs.
Big move on JPM there. You get the breakout, the market getting back towards that high, but the NASDAQ approaching that magical 7,800, which was a huge level on Friday.
Go.
Watch out. JP gets to the pre-market bottom there. That's why we trimmed some of our position. We talked about this little break at 90 even. You take some out at the pre-market low for a 50-cent win. You hang on to the rest to see if we can push towards that opening price, 90.65 where we're at here right now. But we got all the way up to 91.80, 92 right before the open. That's the next stop on a J&J. Abbott as well, working to the long side. Worth noting, guys, SPCB now down to 173 and another halt. I'm looking for that short once again in that name. We've been only long so far after the reversal. Might be time to start coming back in and work the short side of that trade.
Booyah, yeah, it's cash out today. We get a little trippy on everybody as look at these positions here. We're going to go to the position board, and I'm going to go to camera too this time, Rob. So here we go. We'll update these positions right now for you guys. Check the board out right here as I push start, and you guys can see what we have on right now. And it's just a bunch of monster winners happening right here. Here's Abbott Labs, 80.69. That's 35 cents in the money. BAC's 14 cents in the money. CCL 50 cents as we continue to go. J&J 20 and Oxy 75. 3 shorts, 3 longs, 2 shorts. That's how we do it live on the show, guys. Let's go.
Quick little look there at 91 even on JP Morgan. First time it tested, turnaround at that price. I'm going to move my stop now to a break-even stop. We're not going to give it to the bottom at this point. You got to adjust to structure your trade. We're looking for it to break that 91. I am hoping that we can get into the middle between 91 and that 91.80-ish range. So we're going to try to take $1.20 on the second half. But importantly, you don't want to turn a winning trade into a loser. That's why once it works in the money for you, you slide your stop up, which is exactly what we're going to do now. Same thing in Abbott Labs. I'm not going to give it to that 80 as well. I'm going to now work that one to a break-even stop on both of those longs. However, it is time to go back to our good friend Brendan Wickens for our small cap recap.
Yeah, only one main one to talk about today. I'm going to show you that AIM Immunotech as well, but this one, the obvious one in the pre-market, volume-wise, also percent gainer in the pre-market as well. SPCB rather, Supercom Limited, great name for a company. They designed some tech, some ankle bracelets, and smartphone software that will track people who have been told to quarantine because of the coronavirus. So that's the reason for the move today. This one was pretty obvious right off the bat that it wanted to go higher. It did try the short here below $1, but just blasted right back up through $1. When that happened, it was pretty obvious that it was going to hold above. So flip to the long side. Obviously, Neil talked about this one all the way up to 190, looking like it might want to come back to the downside a little bit now. However, this is the other big mover today. AIM Immunotech, we've been trading this one over the past couple of weeks. Another one involved in the coronavirus move as well. $2 down here in the pre-market, acted as support. This thing's now at 330, 64, 65%. Another one that makes the face mask. Guys, let's look at a couple of small caps. Back over to you.
I did like that APT going through there early on, 4 million shares, $13. Let's have a quick look at this one. APT Alpha Pro Tech serving up some masks. And yeah, now near the bottom here. It's kind of strange. Why? 1281. Let's go short. If it does break that, we're still up 17+% here. Just another name to have a quick look at there as well. I didn't want to take you guys back to Abbott Labs. It did. We've absolutely destroyed this one right now. Would have loved to pick it up down here, but again, it's all relative to the shares you have. You can see here $80.67 is where we're long right now, so it's just a nice little 75-cent winner as we speak. I am thinking that we can get a through 81.50 right now. If that does come in, then yeah, that would be a nice one, and we will look through the weeds and see if we can't find a few more of these positions for you as we go. BAC's 10-11 cents in the money, so that one's back from the dead as well. And our CCL, we basically have no shares left, waiting to see if this one comes back up to 13 right now. Maybe I'll just dump what I have and move on, but Oxy's been a huge winner for me as well, down to 10.21, near the day's low, and guess what? We're still short 11.01, so throw this around.
Quick look at Gilead here, which we did like through 76.50. Given the fact that it held that price so well, we do try the short in front of it with a reversal play to the long side, which I think, with the strength in the overall market, that could certainly come into play. You're seeing it have a lot of trouble getting past that 76 even mark, as there goes Cake. So we'll have to we'll go up in smoke for that one. Looks like Dave & Buster's possibly going to be the better short if it can hold that 13.50 to 65 area. But back to Gilead, guys. We do have the short trade. We do love that long through 76.50, and I think we could be in play any second now. We, of course, are still working with JP Morgan, which is running to the upside. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Another mover, guys. Frontline Limited moving higher here, 8.5% on decent volume as well. This is another shipping company, so obviously higher demand for shipments at this point. So Frontline FRO up about 8.5%, guys.
All right, just tweeting this out about how upset I am here about dropping that Microsoft trade, but that's okay. We'll also put a little link here. You guys can watch us. Remember, share us on YouTube, on your Twitter, whatever. Hit the like, get going, help us get some more subscribers here to the show. And, we'll be here every single day for you as long as we're allowed. It looks like the markets will continue to be open, of course, as we move through these times. Thank you to everybody to continue to support us on the show. And wow, there it goes. Okay. So yeah, about that. J&J, here we go. Hit the jaw dropper right now. You guys know where we're long. 130.75 right here. So we talk about these blue ticks. Yeah, the blue ticks are the buys all the way up here to 131.50 now. So this is just another 80 cent winner right now on J&J to go with our 80 cent winner on Oxy. Look, Oxy's only $11 name. That's 80 cents right there. We still have Abbott Labs. That's hovering around a 50 cent winner. Really hoping that this one can break through 81.50 off of this little long here at 80.67. Everything working so well for us right now. Maybe I do like this seat, Brendan. Maybe your seat is a little bit lucky after all. I've got the charting situation figured out, so let's just continue to rock and roll. We do have Jeff Mendel coming up soon from OTC Markets, so that should be pretty cool, followed by Kevin Uterit of NASDAQ Canada, who'll be our big hitter at 11.20.
Our number one stock, at least for me, is going to be that SPCB, and we talked about how when it halts and starts moving to the downside, you get that halt at the top, you get the second halt, which is lower, then we dip into the short in front of that level, that 175 that we talked about. So we dip into this one short, 167 on the way back in. You're only risking about 10 cents if you include that slippage. If we can break 150, look at what would happen here. So much room back to that key 125 area. So you go from a long to a short. That's going to work out well for us. I did mention to you guys in our other short position that it was looking like it was going to be a better play in Dave & Buster's. However, we have this short at 13.40. Can't seem to get all the way down to this 13 even area. It's broken VWAP a couple of times here and tried to slide southbound. So as much as we're looking at a good stop here at that 13.60 mark, if we can't get past 13 even, going to have to take some of this out for a scalp trade instead of a bigger home run. So we'll start working this range if we want to hang out here for too long and still working that long in JP Morgan. Only 70 cents in the money now. It got almost $1. I think we'll try to take $1.20, $1.30 out of that name if we can. Gilead also sliding to the south side now. We talked about liking the breakout long on Gilead. However, when you have such a key level at a 76.50 like this, I like playing in both directions just so you can take advantage of that level, whichever way is going to be the most profitable. Looks like we're going to be able to do that for a quick little 40-50 cent win on the first half and hang on to the rest. But Brendan, what do you have for us?
Another little one moving to the downside at this point, guys. BLPH was halted here on a break of 16. We're all the way down to 12.50. They announced an offering intraday as well. But BLPH, if you remember way back when, this was one of the most epic short squeezes that we've seen on the shows, our show at least. It lasted 2 or 3 days, if you remember, guys. BLPH back in play, doing some volume today, guys.
VLPH.
I do remember that one. That was certainly a nice squeeze, one to take advantage of. I'm going to go, I have too many positions to sort of do it manually here. We'll throw the board up so we can kind of update what we're working with right now. We slid back into Abbott Labs. We talked about that 80 even area. Jump back in at 80.51 to the long side after taking a win on that last one. Gilead, we had that short at 76.15. Going to try to take some off here for 35-40 cents before hanging on to the rest. We just did. There you go. So we'll knock that one off. Still has some of that position as well. JP Morgan at 90.16. We're long in the money, about 80 pennies or so. In play 13.40. I talked about this one not breaking out of the range, but SPCB, that's been our number one stock of the day. We're short that one at $1.67 as it heads towards that 150 mark. I don't want to take profit just yet on SPCB because I talked about how much room there is on the retracement. Once it breaks 150, we'll look to sneak out of some shares between 125 and 150. 125 was that key level on a break to the upside. After the 115 that we took on the break long, 125 that pre-market top that got taken out.
Yeah, and I was putting in the chat there about J&J because, yeah, that one rips up here to a dollar winner. 131.70, guys. We're long 130.70. So, yeah, nice little clean little dollar there if you did want it. My target here is to hold this thing all the way back down to 129. So we'll see there. So I'm not even going to take a dollar winner on this name. We did cash out of pretty much all. We have 20% of our Abbott Labs left. So bang, our best out there. 81.25. Gonna hold that one until we break through 80. No matter what, this is a profitable winner for us as we've taken out, again, like I mentioned, 80% of our trade to the top side. So winner, chicken dinners all over the place. We do take out 69-cent winner here on Oxy. I just put a simple 10-cent trail up there. So it does get as low as 21. Then we punch out at 30. So once again, there we go. That was a hammer time, big time trade there. Most profitable trade though. CCL today has just been fantastic for us. What a great trade, hitting that one early, banging that one down over $1. So it's just been such a fantastic day here. Like I mentioned, I'll drop my Abbott Labs soon when we, actually maybe even when we break through here, 80.25. We don't have any losing trades today, so we will use that as a jinx. And we'll also use Valeria Batman. You guys like the weed Batman. There's Valeria Batman a little bit for you guys.
There's Valeria right there. Give a little bit of a wave. But I got another one. It's a timber action. SPCB cannot stop halting. But once again, we're in the right direction of the halt. I talked about the structure of why we were going to short it, when we would short it. As it was happening, we get out of the long at 75. We take the short. When it halts lower than that 75 mark, we grab it at 167 and a third. Couple of entry points in front of that 175. We took some out before it halted. It broke 150. It gave you that 20 to 25 cent win for a third of our position. Now we're holding on a downside halt. If it opens lower than this, our target down in front of that 125 is going to get taken, and I think we have a big time winner for the second, a third of this trade, and then maybe we can hold for even more than that. But you got to watch out. If we open higher than this halt price of 154, you don't want to have this run back towards that 175 mark. Our stop is at that 175. I'm going to move it maybe to break even at that 167 that we are short right now. However, as we're in the money on 5 stocks, 5 for 5, a good friend of ours is on the line, and we are ready for Jeff Mendel from OTCX. How are you doing, Jeff? Obviously doing a little bit of social distancing. You're working from home, I see.
Yeah, working from home. Guys, I've been watching the show most of last week, and then also this morning. Great trade today in Oxy and also SPCB. Guys, love the shout outs. In our marketplace right now, we actually have a similar kind of high flyer right now, CYDY. It's up 80%. Also around, announcements around coronavirus cures. It looks like they have a couple patients in a clinical trial, and they're just increasing to that number. So that's one to definitely keep an eye on if you want to trade a volatile stock. That's CYDY, and it's trading at right around $2.45 with a decent amount of liquidity on the book as well too. Also, back to our normal names, Tencent, obviously very active right now. It's up about 1%, trading at around $49. Roche, obviously, it's been very active over the past couple of weeks with all the announcements, and also Mr. Trump, or President Trump, shouting it out a couple of weeks ago, partnering up with them to try and find a cure. That's trading at around $40. It's up around 3.5%. GBTC, it's down a little bit. It's down, let's see, around latest. is around 3.5%, trading right around $7. So that's another one that you guys can look at, especially tracking the price of Bitcoin. And that market, I think, is down around 5% today. I don't know if you guys are seeing anything else, but I'll kind of...
Yeah, I want to talk to you about, hey, Jeff, what's going on? And maybe you're a part of this one, but a lot of people sitting at home, obviously, with not much to do. One stock that I know is a very interesting one, and you guys are the only ones to trade it here, and we never talk about it as much as we should. Shout out to my man at home, because I know he's killing this right now. The Nintendo Switch is completely sold out everywhere. You can't find it at Best Buys. You can't find it at Nintendo Online. You can't find it anywhere. So the Nintendo Switch right now, nice little move up here. I just want to give you some credit. Obviously, you guys have that listing. 4.39% right now. Not huge volume, about 70,000 shares, but Nintendo, a beautiful move from the bottom here. And you did talk a little bit about Tencent, but my favorite, Nintendo, you can play the spread here. And I know there's not too much liquidity here, but I do see OTCX here and then OTCX again here. This is your link gateway, your ATS. And just to let people know, you can still get auto executed on a lot of these different names here from these brokers up at the top. Did you want to talk a little bit, Jeff, about just to give our traders a little bit of breath on that you can still get AutoX? So even though you see some of these quotes, there's some miscommunication sometimes about OTC markets. A lot of these brokers like Knight, Citadel, and all that, you send them 100 shares. If they're showing it on here, a lot of the time, especially if you're using your link ATS, you will get that 100 shares AutoX.
Yeah, you will. And, venues like OTCX and also the brokers that you mentioned, right? They're very responsive, especially in ADRs. Nintendo, obviously being one of our bigger ADRs, and most of the names that I usually mention as well too. I try to point out the names where there is a lot of liquidity, right? Because those are the names that actually, let's take the flip side. The names that you don't want to get stuck in are the ones where the guys aren't readily responding, right? There's a reason why features like that are in our marketplace, but for day trading and for taking advantage of some of these quick moves, those are the ones you kind of want to stay away from. But ADRs, like I said, the ones that we've been mentioning, Tencent, Roche, Nintendo, those are the ones where you see that automatic liquidity, right? And a lot of that has to do with there's not only the liquidity here in the U.S., but there's also liquidity in the home market as well too.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll throw some cash around here. J&J right now, guys, more than $1.25 winner rate here on Johnson & Johnson. So I wanted to celebrate that 7% in the money here on J&J. So that's been a great trade. Yeah, Jeff, you know what? I mean, thank you for everything. I hope some of those Picassos in the background there, hopefully you have those insured a little bit. Looking very, very nice, my friend.
I'm at an undisclosed location, so good luck finding them.
Yeah. All right.
Well, sure. But thanks so much for taking time out of your day. Obviously, the markets are wild, so thanks for coming on here. We'll have you back as always every couple of weeks here. Good luck. If you see anything popping up, never hesitate to call in live. Any individual name that might be moving. Jeff Mendel, OTC. Thank you very much once again on this Monday morning. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
And there it is, Jeff.
Yeah, there it is. Sean, you mentioned, of course, a couple of names moving to the upside.
Yeah, we got them all.
Yeah, I'll go Disco Action. I end up taking. We talked about why we would get out of this JP Morgan for that $1.20 win in front of that pre-market level at 92. Yeah, we're about to test that right now, so maybe could have had another 30 cents on this name, but it's all good. A winner is a winner. We're testing upside through 77.70 on the NASDAQ, 2.7% to the upside. 7,800 is that massive level approaching. But Brendan, what do you got for us?
Another gaming name, guys. Another one that might be benefiting from a lot of people sitting at home. Take-Two Interactive, having a nice day here. 5+% to the upside. There was a large hedge fund that sold a huge position in this company this morning, but otherwise, TTWO moving around, guys.
Yeah, Take-Two. Damn it, I'm still so mad about this, Microsoft. But just to let you guys know, we did take some out in front of 131 here for a $1.20 winner. So that's a jaw dropper right there. Just follow and you'll be fine. I'm giving all these trades to you guys. I hope you guys like them, and they've been nothing but cash money. SPCB, that's the only one I missed. Should have been on that for sure. I know Neil took a 30-cent win there on JP Morgan. We have the same winner here on BAC. A nice little 30-cent winner here. We may do the same thing.
$1 to that number.
$1.30. Okay, nice. Yeah, hopefully so. We're
Should
up
have
to
been
$21 right now, guys.
John, here comes 92 even on JPM. You're
Yeah,
picking
look at
this up
this.
look at this bottom at 89.20. And again, it's not to say there weren't other names that you could bottom out there, but the market was so strong. You had the ES trailing. You had a few names which were giving you fantastic prices. We tried to call out as many of them as we could. Another one, of course, has been that little Abbott Labs dump. And of course, for me, our first trade off the morning was going to be a tricky one. You can see us try to take that 84 break, take some out flat. The rest of it, we end up at that 82 mark, and then with a horrible reversal short and then fail. If you're going to take the reversal short here on Abbott at that 82, you got to give it to that 83 mark, misprice our stop and get blown out. But we do jump back into the Abbott Labs long, which is trying to go again. We took 84, 80.50 here, and we're back long at 80.51, looking for it to break past this little VWAP action for $1 win, and then maybe a little bit more than that. But the story for me right now is finally on Gilead. This one took a while, and we talked about that 76.50 level. You can absolutely love a level to the breakout to the upside, and I know that I've got in trouble by not willing. You got to be willing to go short in front of a key level sometimes. If it doesn't give you that break, you're sitting around on your hands doing nothing. Gilead 76.50 does not break the upside, gives you that short. Took half out here at VWAP, looking for that dollar move in front of 75 for the rest. So that's working out as well. It's not just longs that are working. These short trades are coming in that we're giving to you. Brendan, what do you got, bud?
A little tiny energy company, guys. We were talking about the energy group kind of lower on the day. This is the only one that's kind of standing out as positive. 11.5% here for PBF Energy. They announced a big hydrogen purchase, so they bought a whole bunch of hydrogen supply to last them throughout the remainder of this year. Back above $7 here. Looks like it might want to test this 720 high, guys.
Okay, yeah, great. We have to look at some more of those. Yeah, nice little win. Sorry about that, Neil. It's
All
hard.
good.
I can't hear JP Morgan, obviously $1.30. That's fantastic.
We're too far apart, Sean. It's all good.
Yeah. And JP Morgan, I love JP Morgan. So Neil and I both trading these banks. Look to see some of these asset classes and these groups here that maybe we've forgotten a little bit about, like the banking sector. I'm really glad that we both hit that, because as it goes, a lot of the government stimulus, although there's talk about, fixing the virus, but a lot of them are to back up the financial sector. So a lot of these banks running like crazy right now. I just did want to update my position board just to give you guys another look. I know there's some viewers, and I'm going to turn the camera too for you, Rob, here. But there are a lot of our viewers that maybe are not aware of some of the positions we do have on. Here's Abbott Labs right now. That's a 2. So we've got 3 longs right now, guys. 1 to the short. The only short we have is CCL. That's been our best trade. This is what we're working with right now. All of these trades, multiple pennies in the money. I did trim that J&J though, so we only have 10% of that trade left. But let's keep the party rolling, guys.
Yeah, speaking of party, I don't like the party that was right at my order price. You can see here, and I can't really zoom in any further. We can go full screen on my chart here. You can see on Gilead, this is when I put this order, and we sat here at 75.15 or so, and then look what happens. We bounce off my bid. Thank you very much. We're trying to get that dollar win. I'm going to now trail this one into VWAP here, but maybe a little bit shy. You can certainly see this pivot point at 75.50. So trailing stop on our Gilead is now going to be right there. We'll still look to take off the same dollar win, but we're basically going to be playing in this range here. It was such a key level in the pre-market, break through that 75 even, that I'm not going to try for the massive home run. The market is strong. I don't want to get greedy on a short position, which has worked so well for us. Brendan, what do you got for us, buddy?
Eldorado Resorts, guys, moving lower. ERI down significantly here, 17% still, but it was much lower, all the way down to $10 here. You can see they're working on a deal with Caesars Entertainment. The decision on that deal has been put off by regulators because of, guess what? The coronavirus, guys. So ERI, big time negativity today, guys.
Yeah, I see that one. Down
It's
17%.
the thing
ERI. Good name to look at, though, guys.
Yeah, it just got trailed out of that Gilead. So, you can be happy about this one, and I guess we should dance it off, and I'll say it in a muted voice. Even though it's not disco music that's playing right now, guys, that's fine. We do get that trail at 75.50. I talked about why we would want to do that just moments ago. So we don't get the full dollar win in the second half. We'll end up with about 70 cents or so. It's all about being able to play a key level in either direction. And 76.5 was a nice breakout opportunity. If it wanted to run with the market in Gilead, we talked about how choppy that stock has been, which means you have to be willing to play within that chop range as well. That's where we get that short from. And I feel like there's a decent chance that we might have just gotten the worst wick possible. Someone got worse than me by 10 cents on our out there, but we could still be headed southbound. I still like that 76.50 level. Maybe it's in an hour, maybe it's in the afternoon, maybe it's tomorrow. You'll probably see us continue to try to play that one on Gilead for the rest of the week until it gives us that breakout. choppy name, but that's going to be a good break when it happens. What is also going to be good is Sector Watch with Brendan Wickens at the big screen.
All right, we just saw here 2% to the upside for the S&P 500. I'll show you bang on the number, 2% in positive territory. Negativity in the middle, positivity coming from the outside. As you can see, we'll start over here. Healthcare names all in positive territory, kind of based off of that news from J&J this morning. So there it is. J&J leading the way, 7+% to the upside. AbbVie having a nice day as well, 4.7% to the upside. BIB, PRGO, and BMY, Bristol Myers, up about 4% on the day. Also, some of the equipment makers really positive. CAH, MCK, ABT, and CI. We talked about a few of those. Almost 8% across the board for those names. As far as negativity, I want to start with the energy names. We talked about oil, obviously, to the downside. It is still kind of grinding back higher, though. But Apache here, Oxy, NOV, and OKE, all 8+% to the downside. Apache almost 13% in negative territory. So all of the negativity in the entire market kind of coming from the energy group today. Consumer discretionary stocks are also providing some negativity. L Brands here among the leaders, 6.25% to the downside. Expedia, KSS, there's Macy's, GPS, Gap, we mentioned last week a lot, back in the red here, about 3.25%. Here's the cruise lines, RCL and CCL, big time negativity. And LVS, the only hotel name today, back to the upside. So 4.25% for LVS. There's Boeing, wanted to point that one out, almost 11% back to the downside, had a nice run up into Friday. Boeing back to the downside today, though. JCI and URI among the other movers in the industrials group. Everything else kind of mixed. Material stocks are strong, communication stocks are strong, and the staples group way over on the corner there also providing some strength. Everything else pretty much to the downside. But yeah, we came off a little bit there. 1.9% to the upside today, guys, for the S&P. Back to you.
Right.
Good look there, Brendan. I want to update what's going on here in Dave & Buster's. I mean, we had that short in front of this 1360 mark. It did test that 13 even one time. I took some out when it wouldn't move. Should have waited to the 13 even. What I'm going to do now is shift this trade altogether. We're going to add to it like we just did in front of 1325. And look, if 1325 breaks, I'm just going to cover it for the small profit that we'll have. We're short at 29. Just looking to play this consolidation. If it hangs out below VWAP, great. We'll get the flush we're looking for, maybe add to it on a 13 break and get that ultimate 1250 target. However, if it breaks back above after this hold, I want to back off during this sort of lunchtime hour or as you get close to 11 o'clock and reassess that short position. It just does not have the fall through to the downside as we just turned off that 7,800 mark on the future. So watch out. If you have those longs, it's a good place to be taking some profit. Watch for that break. We fell like an absolute rock. And Sean, I know we're all over this looking at on Friday, all three of us. And when that 7,800 fell, it was a massive, massive shock to the downside and a lot of names with a big drop off. Not a bad place to take profits. That's why I'm out of that JPM. All we got is SPCB and Dave & Buster's to the short side right now.
No, I like taking some profits here, and we'll think we'll do the same thing if this was a breaker here on BAC. If this breaks below 85, we'll get out of BAC right now. We are long right now, 21.64, so it's a decent winner. We are going to go to Brendan in a second. I just want to give you guys, we're working into a little bit of a square long here using this 52.80 or so as our out. But right now we're long square 53.26. What's up, Brendan?
DocuSign, guys, just changing my chart over here, but DocuSign back to the upside. It looks like, 6% here. DOCU obviously allows you to sign legal documents remotely, so a lot of people working from home or remotely using this service as well. We mentioned Zoom a lot, but DocuSign seeing some strength, guys.
And there goes that play. Talked about why we want to have the tight stop, so we just broke back to the upside on that. I'll maybe be looking back at Dave & Buster's a little bit later on in the session. So one position left on. It's going to be SPCB. You can see it consolidating a little bit. It couldn't actually follow through after that 150 break. It did get as low as 138, which is a good return. I mean, we're short here 168, and certainly we could have taken that, but I want more. Ultimately, we're now going to slide our stop from 175 into this high at 165, and we're going to be willing to maybe add to this position in terms of the consolidation. So we have a 168 short. We can maybe add between 55 and 68 if it wants to base out here. We're still looking for a flush past 150, past 140, maybe down towards that 131. You can see I actually have had an order sitting down there for quite some time. So SPCB, only thing we have left on is we're about to retest 7,800. So if you like some stocks to the long side, if we break out here, could be a nice little run in the market through 7,800 on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, I'm trying something that going against what I was talking about before, and that is, damn it, there's some size on CCL right there. So we do go long right now, 02s on CCL, just figuring that it's broken out a little bit here. Obviously all the way back up, CCL only down 10% now. Watch out though, there's a big size chasing this thing down. It's SSR, so this thing could easily drop down. We're gonna, yeah, so here it goes. We're gonna drop this one soon, but we did try a long on CCL. Let's see if it can work. We still are long here, 1302, waiting for this guy to break, and then if he does, then I think there's a little bit more upside. But remember, SSR means short sale restricted, so you have to go short only on the offer, which is why some of the size is following this thing down. But yeah, unfortunately, we'll wait until this sell pressure goes away. J&J right now back to flat after that nice little $1.20 winner. But as Neil mentioned there, futures at a key level here on the S&P, more so on the NASDAQ. So watch any of those stocks. My Square right now back to flat. So we're going to wait. I'm still hoping that we can take out this 53.50.
There's at least a little bit of me here that wants to consider the notion of fading the futures, which seems crazy. But you look at the Qs here, and it's like, you know, you can risk a little bit off the top. If we do fail to break that 7,800, do you want some exposure to the short side? I feel like it's not a horrible trade at this time of day. It might seem like a low percentage shot as strong as the market has been. However, as long as you have a tight stop at the high here, and it's going to be 7,800 on the NQ. In the Qs, it's going to be 190.40, 190.50 or so. So, you know, why not? I'll give it one shot only, for at least for the time being, to grab a quick little short in the overall market. So we'll go 190 short side here, Brendan. Stop at the high of the day. I'm not going to reverse long. I like some individual names to the long side. Brendan, what do you got for us?
A name we don't look at very often on the show, but Groupon getting crushed here today, guys. Down about 18% on huge volume. This thing got below $1 once again today, but looks like it's trying to kind of consolidate back above. Big time relative volume. Going to look into what is going on with Groupon, guys.
Groupon, I know what's going on with them. Nothing. Yeah, Groupon. I mean, look,
failing.
The thing about Groupon, I'll tell you what it probably is there. On their last report, and I remember this, that they claimed something like, I don't know what it was, 90% of their revenues has to do with like group outings and people cashing in, like going to various chalets, playing outdoor things, tickets to games, and so on and so forth. So maybe Groupon, people finally wising up, Brendan, to the fact that their revenue stream is going to be adios, amigos. Okay, JP Morgan, the name that Neil was trading, I'm switched over to that as well. It takes out the day's high there. So this is where we're long. We're going to run this thing, and it could be a loser. We're only half a unit in, where it's not going to be a big one. 91.75 is where we'll get out. But right now, I do like JPM. Obviously, only up 1.3%. A lot of room to run on that one. So we go long. Ooh, nice. BAC, didn't notice this one, breaking through 22. So this BAC long, if I can get the same winner on JPM, this is a 51-cent winner right now on JPM. So that's a surprise. Was not expecting that one. But as we keep going upside here, JPM now a 10-cent winner, but we want more on that. Square, the tech side of things not working out here. I do hope for a little bit of a boost up in this one. We'll wait until $53 to dump Square, guys.
Yeah, we talked about that 7,800, so we did dip into the Qs in front of that high. So 190 approximately is our short in front of the high of the day. 190.40 or so on the Qs, and it's that 7,800 on the NASDAQ. But I'm looking at Tesla, and we talked about it, this one broke out of its range. And as much as if we break the top, we'll be out of that quick short for a scalp loss on the market, we do want to see if we can catch this Tesla break to the upside at about 505, 506, if that does happen. So we're watching the top end here on the NQ very, very closely. That's 78. We have a short in front. We're also looking to break out long on something like a Tesla. So a couple of things working here, but we do have another short on that has nothing really to do with the market. It's going to sort of follow its own the beat of its own drum here. But back below that 150 mark is that SPCB, and we'll keep coming back to this well as long as it's going to be a good stock for us. You can see us in the money here, 168 short, about 20 pennies or so, but I want us to take out VWAP and then cruise to the downside. I'm adding 155 to 165. I've moved my stop down from the 175 to in that 165-75 range. So we have that short on. We got the Q short on as well. In case this is a failure at 7,800, we do like to break out on Tesla to the long side, and that's what we'll take if the market makes a new top. But if it does not, we're structured short here on the QQQ taking this trade. You could do it in the futures. You can do it in the micro as well. I'm doing it on the Qs.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, great look there. The future's definitely coming back in. And of course, as the NQ goes, our square position, there's the loser right there for you. So where's my falling in a hole? Oh, we'll flush ourselves down. Square, we thought it could get going, only up. We're now down 1%. We tried it down here. I gave you that trigger through 53. So bang, small little try there. It's a 20-cent hit, 25-cent hit there on square as we go. It looks like our JP Morgan may come out as well. But the market, look, just fading back in right now, guys. Pick up some of these shorts, like Neil's got that NASDAQ short, which is a great one, breaking through now 25.70 on the ES.
Yeah, I do believe you know what talks and you know what else walks. It's Brendan Wicken's time at the big screen for Money Talks.
Hey guys, yeah, currency time. Let's jump into have a look at some of the major pairs we like to follow. The U.S. dollar showing a little bit of life today, coming back to the upside as a result. Pretty much everything across the board compared to that to the downside, including our Canadian dollar here back to 70 and about a half, down more than a full percent today for the CAD. You can see we're just kind of bouncing off that 70 and a half level for the Canadian dollar after a move back above 71 and a half last week. So a little bit of a pullback after. I mean, we got all the way down to, what was it, 68 and a half way back when, a few weeks back as the U.S. dollar was gaining strength. Oil obviously contributing to that as well. But 70 and change here for the CAD today. Euro also lower on that same story, 1% to the downside, 110 for the euro. British pound also under pressure today, about 0.5% back in negative territory, 123. This thing got all the way up to 127 last week, so a bit of a pullback there. Japanese yen still higher on the day. Swiss franc, same story, 95 and change for the Swiss franc. That was up more than a full percent though, so obviously a little bit of a pullback on that one also. Both the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar back in negative territory. At the bottom here, I wanted to mention Bitcoin. First off, 6,800 was a bit of a pivot all week last week for Bitcoin. It spent some time above it, spent some time below it, all the way down to 6,300, 5% move into negative territory for Bitcoin today. Ethereum following suit as well, but 4% to the downside. But yeah, US dollar strength, everything else kind of pulling back to start the new week, including our Canadian dollar. Sean, it's 70 and change today for the CAD. Back over to you.
Liking everything you are saying about the CAD. Of course, we're getting paid, well, it depends what market you trade, but if we're trading these US dollar profits, we get to convert it into CAD. So that's a nice little 35% boost, or sort of that one. And one thing we don't want to forget about for all you Trekkie fans out there as Neil returns, so he'll like this one. Chewy is in the building right here. Look at up 8%. Today, Chewy. I actually gave this one to my doctor back at $24, so hopefully everything's good. It was just a checkup. Hopefully this one can get going for him now. $39, as if a doctor needs more money, but maybe we'll keep this to ourselves. $39 straight to the upside.
He doesn't.
He probably does not, depending on which system you're in. Here in Canada, he does not, I would say. Look at this, guys. This was that bottom 24. I'm stuck in my longs here around 28, but a beautiful, nice little bump up here. We talked about why Chewy possibly heading to the north side, and that is everyone loves their pets and you got to stay home. So people buying various pet products, food and whatnot from Chewy. So a great little spot there. That's the theory anyways. Not sure if that's true, but now we going to the top side on Chewy. I'm not going to take anything out. This is just another one of those IPOs. About 8 months ago or so, I believe that IPO'd around 30. So it's just getting going now. Chewy to the long side. We are long back in JP Morgan. We pick up a nice little long here at 92. So we're basically flat on this one. 6 cents in the money on JPM.
Another leg out here on our, I don't know, punching through VWAP here, but not really. And this is SPCB. You're going to see it. We wanted it to break VWAP to the downside. It's tried for the last little bit here. Looking at the 1 minute, last 5 minutes or so, trying to test through. We're going to take a little bit off. We're still holding shorts here. We got in at 66 and got in at 70. Our average price was 68. That's why you'll see it say I'm short at 170. That's the last third of our position here. Just trying to get past this 140 mark, but we're not going to sit here and fail to take 25 to 30 cents of a win on a name when it's showing you a bit of a bottom. So I will reload if it gets back to that 160. Same plan as before. But you got to take some profit off on a trade like this. And yeah, it might flush through that 140 and give us the 125 that we're looking for. But you don't want to throw away profits hoping for that perfect trade. Give yourself some room to reload. I'm just noting here that test in the Qs. We tried to break that high of the day. We shorted on that little pullback. we got maybe, the 189.50, not much of a fall there, and now we're looking to base out again. So you got to make sure you have a tight stop. If we actually take out that 7,800, the day we did, and on Thursday when that level got broken, it was a huge run up in the afternoon. So as good as it was to the south side, watch out, have a tight stop if you're making this kind of a short play, which is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, good look on that. The Qs, got to watch out. Slippery slope sometimes on some of these ETFs. And of course, the Qs, for those of you that are interested, is the NASDAQ 100. So I know Neil's talked about that today. Okay, Starbucks, we averaged in twice here. Maybe we can zoom this up just a little bit, 3 times actually, defending the 66 level. But look at the futures, guys. We're not going to hold anything. And again, Neil's just talked about it, but we are fading back down here. So all of the longs have very, very tight stops. Now, we've seen this market just fall on its face. So you do not want to be holding anything for too long of a period, unless you got a decent winner on where you're trying to let it run for a little bit more, like our J&J and whatnot. But a lot of these earlier positions, like a Starbucks and whatnot, we're building into them. If the market wants to rally, that's great. If not, we'll drop our Starbucks around 75. So we're only going to hold this for about a 30-cent position, one way or the other. So I do like Starbucks. China getting back going here. Maybe they can take some levels out here, but it is fading back down. Watch these futures, guys. I think I need to build some shorts instead of longs here.
Yeah, I mean, I see the question there. It was just, some conversation between some traders about Wells Fargo, and the rates again looking pretty weak. And I haven't really been looking at this name in particular. I tend to go to like Sean does as well, in the banking sector, go to best of breed, where I'm the most comfortable in the JPM. And I know Wells has a little bit of relative weakness there. So I guess the way to play this would be, hey, look at Wells on the south side trades and look for your JPMs to the long side when we're going to be strong. The story for me is this turnaround, and 7,800 was a great level, and sometimes it's all about playing those key levels. I don't pretend to be the greatest futures trader in the world, but if I'm going to play a turnaround off that level, I didn't have a particular stock to look at, so we just went short in the Qs. And again, sometimes you find another place to express that trade. I want to look at this little base here in front of 189 when we sort of bottomed out here at 77.50. On the NASDAQ, that's going to be that 189 level. That's going to be the first level of profit that we'll take. Maybe we get back to that 188 or VWAP. For me, that'd be a nice little scalp in the Qs if we can get it. So that's a short we have on SPCB. And we took that profit off at 140. These are the 2 trades that we're working with, a couple of short ones. I'm looking for a place to jump into the long side. It'll probably be something like a softie, one of Sean's favorites, if we catch any kind of a bounce. But right now, we're in the money on this Qs trade, about 70 cents. We're in the money 25 cents on that SPCB, looking for a heck of a lot more in both of those names to the south side.
Yeah, we're going to wait here. Good look on all of those. We're going to wait to see if Apple wants to break through 251 as well on this move down. Apple's been weak. I do like that look on Softy. Of course, Softy was huge this morning, so we'll wait on that one. But right now, JPM long, Starbucks long, J&J long, and BAC long for me. So a nice little array of positions here, including the Starbucks. I can call this up for you guys. Right now, we're long at 66.10. So right now, that's 20 cents out. We're looking to drop that soon if the downward move does continue. But one market, there we go, we're out of our Starbucks there for falling a hole. One market that we haven't looked at, or one, I guess, continent, is Europe. So why don't we throw it now for a little bit of a European update to, I believe, Valeria at the big screen. What's up, Valeria?
Hey guys, and welcome to the European update. Well, Europe mostly positive today, but there are still some indices in the negative territory, not extremely though. Britain is up 0.23%, Germany is up 0.84%. Spain is down 2.20%, and Russia is up 0.92%. Well guys, some quick news from Europe. Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz, offered to produce 3D printed medical equipment components. Airbus announced that it will pause all its major production in Spain until April the 9th. That's all for today, and I'll keep you updated. Back to Brandon.
All right, let's jump into trade of the day. It's 11 o'clock. It's Monday. This is the segment that we kind of go back over one of the trades that either Neil or Sean took between 9:30 and about 10:30 off of the open. If you joined us at 9 o'clock, every day we talk about a whole bunch of things that are moving around in the pre-market. We talk about the news as to why, some of the levels you might want to look at as far as placing a trade off of. This one was just absolutely insane. Once it got back above $1 the second time and started to hold above the dollar, the news related to tracking technology. So they developed a way to track people who have been quarantined because of the coronavirus. And they have this ankle bracelet, bear with me, and some smartphone software to go along with that. Neil's all set with SPCB. Let's go to him.
Thanks a lot, Brendan. You mentioned it. The second half of that story is why you want to be aggressive with the long play in this one. And you get these gap up situations. Stocks are up, 100%, 150, 200, things of that nature. The first thing I'm always looking for is the retracement play. I like shorting them. I like to find opportunities to do so, but you got to have some defined levels to do that. So the first thing I looked at was about a 125 area top, and that was in the pre-market, and then a nice 115. And you're going to see it sort of make it right here on decent volume around 8 o'clock to 8:30 or so at that 115 area. That's what I was working with the initial short. One thing I mentioned too is it was a stock that I didn't want to necessarily play in the pre-market because I thought there'd be a lot of juice to the upside. I wanted to see some volume come in before I could confidently play it in front of some key levels. Let's jump into our initial entry because as much as it was a great long, we did start off short in this one, which can be tricky if you want to make money and you're going to be the wrong way in the trend. This is how you pull it off. But SPCB, we got that short in front of 115. It talked about waiting till it opened up, already giving you a 10% return, and it's barely even moved. We can get back below $1. We can maybe get down to that 90-cent area. We're short at 112 here, where the players dwell apparently. And my stop is at that 115, like we mentioned. So there you go. That's the structure you're short, and you've got to be disciplined with it. There's no way you can have one of those area stops where I'm just going to sit there and work out of the position. No, that's a hard stop. I got a stop order, going to automatically trigger to make sure that we're getting out of that short very, very quickly. It's already shown you that it has a bit of a bounce in front of that $1 area, which is good. Ultimately, it gives you about a 10% return if you're short 112 like we were, which is a good return. And if you get a flush through that buck, certainly you get down to that 90-cent mark. Nothing wrong with that with the amount of volume it's doing. The real juice is to the upside when these things break. I had mentioned there was nothing till about $1.50 when you go to the daily chart in terms of key levels. That's why you had to be very, very careful with that short, Brendan.
Surprisingly, only 0.3, I just double checked, 0.3% on the short side as far as the free float. However, the free float itself only 11 million shares. The entire company is only worth about 8 million in market cap as well. So very, very small to say the least, micro cap company. But yeah, lots of opportunity to the upside. It was pretty clear, I thought, as I mentioned before, once it got back above $1 the second time that it was going to hold there, and then you get blast off to the upside because there's just no shares out there, I think. Let's go to the next clip.
I'll go back to the other, Brendan, all about you mentioning SPCB there. We do jump into this one. It's trying to get back to that penny stock status, which I would like, short at $1.13 here. Going to take some out as the responsible thing to do as a big buyer at 102. We'll take that out for will be a 10% win on a dollar stock is what we like. You hear me say there's a buyer already at $1. Brendan was just mentioning is defending that dollar even pretty well. You see the move to the upside. So as much as you like that structure, and if we sort of take a step over here, you don't get to know what's going to happen. If we do manage to hold this key price at 115, you get a second test of 90 cents. That's a great short to be in. You want to make sure you have some exposure to it. But given how small the float is on this name, how much juice there is to the upside, you want to be aggressive. And you see me running to the exits after we see that massive buyer there for well over 100,000 shares, holding it up above $1 after a second. This is the second time it's testing $1. A big time buyer. We get out aggressively in front. We only hold about 20% of our position for the eventual break, and it's all about the reversal to the upside when that break does happen, Brennan.
Yeah, it was an interesting move. Halts obviously 2 or 3 times on the way to the upside. You know what? Let's go to the next clip. I want to talk about the short on the downside once it does make a top there. Let's go to the next clip.
We talked about SPCB at $1.15. We shorted in front of it. We got out and it broke that $1 mark, 10% move on the short. We reversed to the long on that break of 115. We were getting out here already as it moved up to 126. Volatility halts to the upside on SPCB. We'll watch that one open up. We're long, so we're in the right direction of this halt. Worth noting here, you'll zoom out. That's the pre-market top that got taken out there, 125. We're long in front of it at 118. No key levels until about 150 or so to the upside. So let's watch this one closely when it opens up in about 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, we catch that reversal break, and the first thing I'm going to do is make sure we scalp some because it's going to give you that halt play, and I want to make sure that that I take some profit before it halts. You got a little bit of a room to work with in case it comes right back down and it's a completely failed move. And if that happens, I'm then getting the rest out at that 115 because we've taken profit. It's a break-even trade. When you do that structure, it gives you a little bit more confidence to jump in and hang on to your longs for the bigger wins because you know in the back of your mind, you've set this one up to the long side that if it does fail after that first halt, you're going to make money anyways because you took some of that profit out aggressively in front of that 125, 130-ish mark. So that was the idea, Brendan. To be perfectly honest, I preferred the short retracement play. I get more satisfaction out of it, and I love the structure of it. But that long, you've got to be willing to do it. I'm trying to find ways to hold some of these longs a little bit better when we do catch these breakouts. It's never been my first notion for some of these trades, but there's so much opportunity to be had. You just got to do it.
And lots of different ways, I think, to approach a trade like that in the sense that, you mentioned going out to a daily chart, you see 150 kind of as a next stop on the way up. But we've seen these things up, 5, 6, 7, 800% in a day. So as you said, really no way of knowing how far it's going to go. You can go out and pick kind of structure levels, but above that, it's every man for himself kind of thing. I want to talk about that short, but let's go to one more clip.
The home run, SPCB, the trade is done for us. It opens back up. It tries to test through the high. The halt was at 175. We're long at 118 there on that reversal. It tries to get past that mark. Once it retraces it, I mentioned to you how you can maybe get that last halt and then the test to the downside. Well, I'm not saying I'm shorting it yet, but certainly that's a good place to cover. We're now looking to see if it can hold this top at 185. If it does do that, and you get any kind of consolidation, I'll jump to the reverse end of that trade. At some point in these high flyers, you got to take it off. It might continue to go further, but I'm now looking for this one to slow down and possibly catch a bit of a short whenever that does happen. So nice win on SPCB. We'll turn our attention to a few other names as. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, we basically led ourselves into the short that we're basically, still sitting in right now. Brendan wanted to talk about this one. I do mention a lot of times you want to watch for that secondary halt. For me, whether you're looking for the short trade or just looking for a place to take profits out, I want to see it retest that halt level. When it tried to open higher, slammed back down almost instantly. That's going to get me out at that 175. The second I see it test higher, I immediately throw a trailing stop in there for that, or a stop for that 175 mark. Make sure we lock in that profit. You're long at $1.18. You're getting 175. You better be happy with that kind of a return. But at that point, I'm saying, okay, now we've made this top here. Let's wait for it. I'm not looking to break out long. Maybe if it takes $2, you can think about something like that. I'm hunting for that short. This is pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. I want to see it halt at that same range where you get that 175. It was a key price for us on the way up. It halted there. It was our reason to get out when it failed at that price again. Now it gives you the halt. And if it can open lower, I'm just looking to short in front of that 175 price. It's a very, very tight stop. I don't have to chase it too far. I'm working in these up wicks here. It's a tight stop type trade where you're risking 10, 15 cents, but it's got to be a hard stop. I don't want to see it break 175 and test $2. I've seen these things go from up to 100% to 2, 3, 4. You can't get stubborn with these shorts. When it hits for you, it's going to be a home run, so don't worry about it. You lose that 10 cents, that's fine. You're trying to make 20. You're trying to make 30. Maybe right now we're actually looking to make 40 or 50 cents on that trade. Brendan, I don't know if you were looking at this one as well, but a lot of times I'll miss these shorts. This one was kind of easy to grab.
Yeah, you made a couple of great points there. I want to mention you're not actually chasing. You're not being aggressive in entering that short. You're being passive, throwing out offers, 10, even 15 cents higher than where the stock is trading and waiting to get hit. It's very, very hard to identify when these things do make that change and start moving back to the downside. Go in and look at the level 2 when that happens as well. There was a clear change on the level 2. All those bids that were stacked up on the bid bid side flipped over to the offer side, and there was basically nothing on the bid. So it was pretty clear to identify when that reversal happened. But the key there, and I want to stress that you're not being aggressive on the short, because it can obviously continue higher. So all kinds of opportunity for Super Calm Limited today. I love that name. Your trade of the day for Monday. Let's go back to the guys.
All right, a good little trade of the day. Thank you there, Neil. And yeah, a name that unfortunately I missed there as well. But one name that we are not missing, of course, are these banks, man. We go bullish. Neil and I have been talking about these ones all day today. And here's just another one. JP Morgan, bang, bang, bang. A bunch of ins there. We take one out for flat and then boom, boom. Now we're going to the upside. We're long JP Morgan right now, 92.05. So that's a decent winner. You know what? Why don't we just put up, now that you guys, I've been trading here since Neil's been doing that. So we'll update it and we'll put it on our trade board right now once again for you guys. Here we go. Bank of America long, 21.46, 40 cents in the money. J&J's 50 cents. That should be better. That's a long in the money as well. And JP Morgan bang to the upside, an 80-cent winner on that one. So 2 banks, 3 positions, 2 banks long, and J&J. We love to do that. We're going to have a look at Abbott Labs. My square would be good now, so Starbucks. But obviously you're seeing the futures here retracing back to the upside. I think about to take out day's high possibly, guys.
Good look there. And we talked about on the way back in, we just covered the trade of the day, SPCB. I mentioned that 125, and that's going to be that pre-market top area where we had the initial halt. I like those levels to get out. We get that little break. It holds at 128. Big time seller that showed up on the offer at 131. We just used that for liquidity on the way out. We anticipated that maybe, just maybe, you're going to get a turnaround at that 125 halt price. It's only a few cents from there, so we go bullseye, able to take that one off. So ultimately, our last short at 170 is out at 131. You catch a nice winner on this. So SPCB, case closed for me on this one, the trade of the day. We're now flat on the session as our Q's trade. We did take half out for a nice little win, but I mentioned I'm not holding it through the high of the day. It is what it is. We did get some out there in front of 189, but it just stopped out as we took off the high. There we go, 78.03. The market continues to run here, Sean.
My wife is completely obsessed with Tiger King, and you're going to see why in a second. I thought it was pretty good. I actually didn't like the last 2 episodes of Tiger King, but it was very exciting. And who did kill Carol's husband? So we're going to wait to see about that one. That should be interesting. I don't know. I know there's a big push to get this guy, Joe Exotic, out of jail. So we'll see there if Joe can do that. But the reason why we throw down the money and we rein it in, guys, is JP Morgan. I celebrate as well. This is a $1 winner. So run, run, run. We just keep running this one. It's disco fever here today. J&J as well. That's a $1 in the money as this one just keeps on climbing. We're waiting to see if it can break 132.21. We've already had this name all the way up here to begin with already today. So right now, a 48-cent winner and $2 for you guys right here on these trades. So it's just been a fantastic day. We are getting ready to enjoy a segment with Kevin Uterid from NASDAQ Canada. Continue to use their gateways, guys. Solid right there. NASDAQ Canada continues to perform as one of the best exchanges out there. What's up, Mr. Wiggins?
Peloton. Mentioned, Kevin coming up in a few minutes here may or may not also be a fan of that show. We'll talk to him about that. Peloton 8% here, guys. Huge volume right off the bat on PTON, but got above 28 there recently. Looks like it wants to hold above that 28 level. Good look for Peloton today too.
I'm going to be kicking myself over that Peloton long position, and no, sorry, my daily not really loading effectively there, but we can go to the 3 and maybe look at the last few sessions. You can certainly see that 25 break that was sort of so key, and since we broke through that price last couple of sessions, the next stop was that little 26, and it, ultimately we are going to open up higher than that, but it did give you this pullback right at the open in front of that high Thursday and Friday. So you saw the break at 25, you follow it through on Thursday and Friday when it couldn't get through the top there, and of course the market falling off allows you to hold below that bottom, and then it gives you the entry still. And we mentioned this, and if you want, rewind and go back and watch all of last week, we were talking about this stock possibly giving you the breakout. Didn't know when it was going to happen. There it was, certainly at that 26. And the fact that it gave you a pullback right off the open is going to make me really, really miss out and regret. 10% return there on a Peloton. Good look there, Brennan. But before we get to Kevin, I think we need to get more Valeria, and that means in focus at the big screen.
Hey guys, welcome. Here are some of coronavirus updates. Well, in Britain, some forms of lockdown measures could continue for 6 more months or longer. UK health officials warning that the country could face the second wave of the outbreak if those measures are lifted too quickly. Amazon workers in Staten Island are going to strike today to attract the attention to the lack of protection equipment for the employees who are still going to work. According to the $2 trillion stimulus bill, the U.S. private jet companies are eligible to get funds from the $25 billion in loans. According to the New York City mayor, the city has enough of equipment for the following week, except for ventilators. Another U.S. city, New Orleans, which is a hotspot with the corona cases in the U.S., might run out of the ventilators and hospital beds by April. That's all for today. Stay healthy and stay focused. Back to the guys.
Thanks a lot there, Valeria. Good look. Stay healthy, stay focused. It is all about being focused. 7,800, maybe a failed break. And I sort of threw this one in the chat for you guys there, but Tesla just no breakout through 505 when the futures made that top. Heads back below VWAP and gives you a $2, maybe check that $3 range below 500, maybe teetering up to maybe 501, 502 at times. And if we're going to fail through this 78 and just consolidate and eventually drop, why not find something relatively weak which has a little bit of volatility? So I'm going to dive into the Tesla short here. I got 499.50. It just makes sense to me. You can maybe work this trade, adding to it in the 502 range if you can. Give it to that little top that we're talking about, to the breakout long, and that's at 505. The bottom 490 where we got to seems like a reasonable target, but you want the futures to fall off here through that 7,800 level. So it's the only thing I have on right now. I'd like to be able to add in this consolidation if I can, but if we can't, that just means it ran in the money right away for us.
Yeah, Tesla's a good little name and one of the best. I don't know if you hit it there, but we'll hit one of the best stock logos that we have there. Okay, JP Morgan, we get out just a structured trade as always. We get out here right in front of 93. So right now we only have 25% of our position left. Sorry, check that 20%. 1, 2, 3, 4 outs out of all of these longs. So JP Morgan taking some out, and we'll let the rest run to the top side now as JP Morgan. Nothing but winners here. Also, wow, BAC, we still have this one on 2164 is our long, so that's a nice little winner there as well. And J&J right back today's high here. We've let this one go before. I would love to see 132.50 stare me right in the face once again. But yeah, great look on Tesla. Anytime you get a number near 500, you have to trade those key levels. One name that we haven't looked at too much today that I know a lot of our viewers always ask about is Disney. Was hoping that one, only because I was talking about a key level, was hoping that one would be near $100. It broke through that last week, but now struggling to get back there. But what a great bottom. Wow. Every day this seems to happen on Disney. A big move down here off the open. Check that $4 and then immediately back. So we'll check that again. Wow, the market, Neil, blowing to the upside here. J&J looking to take that top out. JP Morgan, yes, we still have JP Morgan on. And that one's a floss all day long. Matching, Neil took the $1.30 earlier. Here's another one for you. So again, guys, if you're late to the party like I am, you can still hit this. JP Morgan, a nice little $1.30 winner. J&J still now back to day's high. This is the high of the day. And we still got this one on long 130.75. Let's pull out the trumpets, guys, today. It's a big time confetti day for us. Just trading. Been lucky that I've been long most of the day as this market now breaking higher as I see the Dow 450 points. Giddy up.
Yeah, here comes that 7,800 again. Worth noting on the ES, big level 26.13 or so. So watch both of those possibly coming to play at the same time. Looking back here at Gilead, this is a stock that we've liked at times to the long side. It's going to give you, in this run up here, the bottom, 74, good level. You've already based out. I'm looking for something relatively weak for a bit of a long, so I might jump into this one at a 74.25 break using the low of the day since the open is the out. But while I do that, it's time now to throw to Brendan Wickens for our guest of the day.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks. Going to be joined in a couple seconds here by our good friend Kevin Uterit, Vice President of Sales with NASDAQ Canada, to see how things have been over at NASDAQ Canada throughout this crazy volatility and crazy market moves. There he is. Kev, you changed your background again. Back to what it was supposed to be, but tell us about how things are going. First of all, I mean, good to see you. Obviously, I hope you have been well over this period. I mean, obviously working remotely today. Good to see you and speak to you. How are things?
Yeah, good to see you guys, and thanks for having me on. It's been a bit tricky, I'd say, over the last few weeks for all of us, and I hope everyone's doing well. First and foremost, your families and loved ones are all being taken care of and taking the right precautions during this crazy time, not just in the markets, but just in the world. With that being said, my family and I have been keeping busy with the following.
There it is. There it is. Sean
and
also,
that's going to stay on for the rest of the segment.
Sean also is a huge fan of that show. I tried to watch it, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Brendan, you got to watch it. Like, you have to get through the first 15 minutes, and you won't stop, and your face is gonna be like this the whole time.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah.
So I did a lot of that for this past weekend. I actually started it again. My wife is just freaking out. She's like, "You need to stop watching Tiger King." I'm like, "I can't stop." It's crazy.
The entire premise of that show, I can't believe they actually were able to make the show, let alone how well it's been doing.
Look behind. Look at the guy.
I mean, come on.
Want to watch that?
Come on, that's enough
Look at
said.
this guy.
Enough said. Yeah, business. What is it? Business in the front, party in the back. Let's talk about some trading here, Kev. If we can focus on what we're supposed to be talking about at all.
Yeah, but Tiger King's not leaving.
No, that's fine. I'm good with that.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, obviously, increased volatility over the past few weeks, just absolute crazy market moves. Tell us about how some of the challenges that has created as far as stability in messaging, in receiving orders and execution on NASDAQ Canada's part.
Yeah, so I'm going to preface this. 2007, 2008, I'm sure that most of us were on a desk somewhere, based on our overall work in this business, and being on the other side, working on a desk during that crash was unbelievable for me to see certain names drop in value the way they did, the volumes, the constant picking up of the phone back then, and just the thresholds that we were hitting back then. It was unbelievable to me. And a lot of frustration happens and a lot of panic happens. Now you fast forward to 2020 and what's gone on over the last 3.5, 4 weeks in our market, specifically in Canada. I'm not even talking about the US. The volumes have nearly doubled and more in total ADV across Canada, where Canada was known to do about 500 to 600 million shares a day. We're doing 1 billion by 2 o'clock in the afternoon and hitting 1.5, 1.3, 1.6 billion share numbers. So as you can imagine, the amount of messaging and traffic on an infrastructure level that takes place is just ridiculous. And like I said, in 2007, the volumes were strong, but this is just a whole other ball game. And I'm very, very fortunate and proud to say that NASDAQ, not just within Canada, but overall globally, in addition to what we do, providing a marketplace in North America for trading, whether it's US equities or Canadian equities, NASDAQ, if you're not aware, also supplies technology and infrastructure to numerous exchanges globally. That's broker-dealer owned dark pools and different types of broker-dealer venues for equity execution globally. That's other competing venues with us in other countries. So we have, massive skin in the game, as they would say, when it comes to providing stability and infrastructure and technology. And I'm proud that, we've maintained strong infrastructure. We've upgraded where we needed to. We've been proactive in keeping an eye on absolutely everything, and we haven't experienced any type of latency issues or lag during this whole period, not just within North America or Canada specific, but globally. So the way we're handling this, it is very proactive. Our operations and support teams, as you can imagine, are just working nonstop, 7 days a week to make sure we're up and running, that our markets are working, and everyone has a place to get in and out of when executing a trade in this volatile time.
Yeah, it's been impressive both on the volume side and on the actual volatility side, obviously, over the past couple of weeks. I mean, congratulations to you and your team over there at NASDAQ Canada, obviously keeping things orderly and functioning as they should be. Let's kind of break down that volume. You mean, you mentioned, just off the charts volume. Let's kind of break that down. Where are you seeing the most of it? Is it lit? Is it in the dark? Is it inverse? Where are you seeing the most volume?
So that's a great question, Brendan. So when these volume events take place in our marketplace, no matter how they're driven, we tend to see the same trends typically, where the main listing markets tend to see the bulk of the load. So meaning the TSX, senior, listed, venture, as well as pure CSC, they've all seen an uptick in their overall performance. The cool thing is that we know that that's not a variable. That's just a constant in these equations when there's volume events or crazy events that happen in the marketplace. The cool thing to look out for are the other venues that pick up steam. And in particular, we've seen an uptick in alpha, but we've seen an uptick in CXC, CX2, and CXD across the board on all three books over the last 4 weeks, specifically CX2. CX2 was gaining momentum. We've talked about it in the past before. I was talking about it in our last session, I believe. But CX2 was gaining a lot of momentum prior to all this craziness that's gone on in the marketplace. And since these macro events have taken place, CX2 has jumped almost 2 points in market share and senior listed, doubling our efforts in venture and CSC right now. It's absolutely ridiculous what we're seeing. We anticipated an uptick, but we didn't understand to what degree. So we couldn't be more happier in regards to the performance and stability of the actual venue itself. But it's telling in the fact that when volume events like this take place, country or region-wise, you can really start to see the story on certain routing sequences, and specifically when it comes to retail, you were seeing that CX2, we've said this all along, it's extremely telling at this point now where CX2 is just very high up in a lot of retail liquidity takers routing sequence and has major priority across all the big banks in Canada and a large independent broker dealers. They're all looking at CX2 to get in and out of certain positions. Our economics are quite interesting. We do have retail pricing for takers, and they seem to enjoy that. But the main thing is that you're seeing these firms are coming to our venue not just because of the pricing. They're coming because they know passive posters are sitting there ready to fill orders of large size, whether they're ETFs, interlisted, or sub $1 names. So there's a consistent trading opportunity happening on CX2 over the last 3 to 4 weeks across all listing segments, whether it's TSX Senior, Venture, or CSC.
And one of the interesting points that I kind of took from this note that you passed along to us this morning, Kevin, was that this is across all price kind of pricing brackets. So if you're the type of trader that likes the expensive names, or if you're the type of trader that likes the the little guys, the penny stocks even, this is a volume event. Maybe talk about how this is outside of the norm in the sense that this is across all pricing brackets.
Yeah. Typically, when there's upticks in volume and volume events, it's concentrated across certain segments of the market. And obviously, ETF trading has increased dramatically over the last 3.5 weeks. HOU. These type of products are consistently being traded. XIUs, the spiders in the U.S. This is typical stuff that we normally see, but the overall elevation across venture that we're seeing right now is incredible. The CSC, there's been an uptick, specifically to CX2, at least I'd say, not the overall maybe market when it comes. So that's not discriminating against any level of price here. So looking at CX2 to get in and out of a $20 stock, you may have the same chance and probability to do so with a 20-cent stock. That's what we're seeing at this time.
Yeah, let's jump down to some dark trading. Obviously, we had a little bit of a rule change when it comes to dark trading in this country going back to February. Give us an update on how that's maybe affected NASDAQ Canada, if at all, and how things have been going with the dark.
Yeah, I mean, we were flying high up until the dark rule change across all three segments and CXD in particular. Obviously, February 4th was the date where they implemented the dark rule change where at-the-touch trading can't take place unless certain criteria and requirements are met, namely the notional value of the trade being over $30,000 and at a minimum board lot size of 50 to execute at the touch. Obviously, our competitor in the dark, our main competitor, and us have taken a dramatic tumble in liquidity and overall provision in sub $1 names. So what do? We can't do much about that. None of us can do much about that, right? So we have to look and analyze the data the best way we can. What we've noticed is that retail routing, the sequencing of their routing is still the same. We've actually socialized our observations across the street and across North America at this time. And what we can say intelligently, based on analysis and just based on reaching out to our clients and our partners on a day-to-day basis, is that their sequencing hasn't changed. So they're still pinging the dark for the whole order, crossing the spread or going to the mid or MPI levels, and then moving to inverted markets and then maker-taker books, right? So with that being said, there's still an opportunity at an MPI and midpoint level to be providing liquidity in CXD. And let me remind everyone, in a sub $1 name, you're still facing capped pricing. So for midpoint execution, it's $5 maximum, I believe. I shouldn't believe, I know that. It's $5 maximum at the mid on CXD to provide. So there's still sub $1 opportunities in our dark pool, but they've moved from at the touch to more at the mid and MPI level at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned creating an opportunity, obviously, for anyone providing liquidity in that sense. Let's break it down even further here a little bit, Kevin. Talk a little bit about the individual areas of the market maybe that are seeing any kind of increased activity. I mean, we always mention the cannabis space. Are there any individual names or maybe sectors that are standing out to you?
I'm going to be quite honest with you, Brendan. I have, based on what's been going on over the last 3.5 weeks, I haven't been following any specific sector or names like I normally do. I've been just keeping an eye on the overall liquidity and volumes and some of the trends that we're seeing with the sequencing. But with that being said, I did pull some names last week, all of last week, our top 10 traded names. And what's funny is this is CSE specific. So our hypothesis on CSE trading still holds true during this time, where it's a concentration of 5 to 10 symbols that drive that market on a daily basis. And even in this time, I don't think there's any been new names that have been popping up, but it's quite contrary. It's names that we are quite familiar with, and I believe there's a lot of stability maybe around those names and familiarity with the community trading those specific names. So during this time, things are getting driven down. There's bounces back up and forth. Like today is an interesting day where we started out here and now we're kind of coming back up. So you're seeing MMEN, GLH, Agra, Cura, Harv, Truel, IAEN. These are all CSE names, I think, that are frequently on people's radars. And over the course of the last, I'd say, week, 2 weeks, we've been noticing them frequently become available for execution on CXD, and in particular CX2.
It's interesting to note that some of these are obviously kind of in that $5 to $10 range, and then you get some obviously that are below the penny, including MindMed, obviously MMed, another one that popped up on that list.
An interesting takeaway and suggestion, like a trading opportunity or idea for your community, is when you're looking at the tape, like I've said, like there's certain venues that are really standing out right now in Canada that are performing well. And it's a testament to where the sequence sits with the retail takers and how they scan and sweep the marketplace. If you're able to multi-post, meaning if you want to provide liquidity across 2 or 3 books on one order, I believe you guys should have the ability to do so. If not, we can assist with that in NASDAQ Canada. there's opportunities to split liquidity between CX2 and CXD. So you're taking full advantage of the rate card in both senses, where you're capped on CXD at $5 at the mid for a certain amount of liquidity, and then the residual can get executed on CX2. And I got a little guest here that wants to make a quick little appearance.
I love it. I love it.
Say hi?
Is she your assistant these days?
Yeah, this is my new Horechka. Much more effective. She can sell anything to anybody.
That's great. Kevin, I'm going to throw you over to your fellow Tiger King fan. Sean wants to say hi.
Okay, for sure.
We finally meet, your
The
little
angel.
one there, Kevin. Thank you. And when you can see that where she gets her look from,
Not you.
obviously from your wife. So that's great. That's fantastic there. Hi, it's Isabella, isn't it?
Yes, Isabella.
Hey, how's it going, Isabella? Welcome to Trader TV Live. And what have you guys been doing just to beat some of this? I know my kids are there doing some yoga that's online. We've been taking them for a lot of walks. Do you find it a little bit claustrophobic there in the house? What have you guys been doing for
It's thanks, Sean, for asking. I'm glad to see and see you guys doing well, and again, wishing all the best to your family, your parents, everyone, for that matter. I know you have a couple of kids at home as well, and it's been difficult. It's been challenging because I think all of us at the same time in our line of work, with trading specifically, markets are open. So you, me, Neil, Brandon, we're all expected, to be on the ball.
Right.
But at the same time, I believe that we all have to be cognizant about everyone's own situation during this time. Everyone is dealing with something. Everyone is dealing with something personal or professionally related. So it's been difficult. My wife, she's also working from home as well at this time. She has meetings, obligations, and that type of thing. And I'm always, every other hour, there's something to do. And we have our daughter running around us throughout the whole day. So yes, yoga, exercise, going out for walks, keeping it back to basics to a point. We've been doing a lot of Amazon ordering for certain activities and crafts to keep her occupied. Mind you, Isabella's 2. So
no Tiger King for her. That's
well,
for sure. Some parts.
Oh boy.
The cubs are
But you
cute.
can't help but you can't stop staring at Joe Exotic.
Well, check out Ozark too, obviously, back with season 3. I did want to talk
Also check out Disney Plus for the kids. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, Disney Plus is decent. I want to talk about Bombardier here quickly. You did back to talking a little bit of shop here. Obviously, our traders and any traders around should probably be looking to some dark pools here on a name like Bombardier. And I just didn't want to scare anybody off, Kevin, because you can make a lot of money just trading at these simple levels, even though it's only a half penny. I do see some CX2s coming off here and some lit orders from NASDAQ Canada, which we have on here as CXB, and then also dark orders going through as well. So you guys have a very attractive rate card for below $1. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention there. Don't sleep on some of these sub-dollar names, especially if you're going to use some of those NASDAQ Canada order types.
Appreciate that. Thank you for the plug on that one. Yeah, so CXD, CX2, and CXC. Bombardier, the minute you get outside of ETF trading in NASDAQ Canada, out of the books, usually ETFs are the top of the book. And when you factor crosses and blocks, just take that out of there. ETFs are still really driving, I think, most liquidity pools in Canada. The minute you get out of those names, the first name that pops up for us is Bombardier. I think it's a known thing. Like our record day in January that we had, particularly on CXD, was totally driven by a lot of the Trader TV community, so thank you for that. But at the same time, across CXD. CXD, it's in the top 10 today, I believe. I haven't really looked at overall numbers, but it is trading at a mark of 43 cents, 44 cents, if I'm not mistaken, at this time. With that being said, Bombardier, at the touch, within the threshold, you're paid $2 maximum to trade it on CXD and $5 at the mid. CX2, it's gone bananas over there as well, and CXC. So I mean, it's a big name for us. It's noticeable across the street. So please, if you are trading Bombardier in and out, look for CXT, CX2. And again, maybe on the next segment, we can discuss more multi-posting. I can work with Sean and the team to come up with some schematics and ideas that we'll present to you that is actionable on your end, not just hypothetically talking about it and saying that you could try this and it could work, giving you guys a solution to do it. We have the means. You guys have worked with us in the past on numerous occasions in initiatives like that on routing, so we could definitely help out.
Yeah, I can't overstate how important and what an advantage that would be for traders like us when you're trying to capture that spread on a high volume name like a Bombardier, where liquidity is absolutely king, and size, you can trade some gigantic size when it comes to Bombardier, so you got to have that access.
Yeah. No, exactly. We couldn't be happier in regards to like just the overall provision that we are seeing at this time. One thing that you guys should all know, I apologize for not being available over the last couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of transition on the part of our clients and a lot of the people that you guys are interacting with on the tape on a day-to-day basis over the last few weeks. I think at this point, most of us are mandated to work from home. All our systems are up and running. So during this time of transition, we were still maintaining client contact, client touch, and keeping an eye, obviously, on our books each day. Some surprises here and there, but other than that, it's been business as usual. For the foreseeable future, I will be working from home, and I'll be doing these with some kind of frequency with you guys, I think week to week, maybe. We get back on track and just keep up with events, liquidity events, and opportunities.
Great. We look forward to it, Kevin. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. May the rest of your family obviously be well and be safe. And yeah, we're practicing similar rules here, and we hope to get everything back to normal, although it'll be a new normal soon. Thank you for continuing to support the show, and we love having you on. Thank you so much for all the information.
Thanks, Kevin. Be safe.
Take care, guys. All the best to you all.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right, Kevin Uterit, guys. Brendan, not a bad little look there. Some funny things there. Nice to see his family safe, and nice to see some Tiger King in the middle of the day.
Some things happening in the market there. We talked about some of the levels there in the futures at 7,800, but also 2613, trying to take the top off. So I had relative weakness in Tesla. We tried the short. We hedged it with a long in Gilead and Microsoft. So as you can probably tell, if I'm looking at Gilead off the bottom in the money, and I'm looking at Microsoft that works, that means that Tesla did not. So we had that target range. It was simply that in that recovery and that move to the upside, Tesla was holding VWAP. It was holding that nice little range. We did try the short. It does break that 505, so you get out. We had the long and softy. I'm sure Sean will have that as well. He'll probably review that for you. So I can sort of jump to Gilead, which for us was a short this morning. And ultimately, we do reverse alongside in that trade. All said and done, we are still holding at the top end, not breaking the high in the ES. So as the NASDAQ takes out 7,800, we have not taken out the corresponding level in the ES. So a big time opportunity in whichever direction we break. You want to make sure you're poised to take advantage of it. Should be a wild afternoon. But it is time for our wrap. Let's throw it on to Brendan Wiggins.
Hey guys, let's jump into a little bit of a review session as we head towards lunchtime here in the Eastern time zone. Still in positive territory for the most part across the board here. S&P 500, 2.5%. You can see the NASDAQ, 3+%, leading the way for U.S. markets. Here in Toronto, TSX up about 2%. Brazil still higher. Bitcoin to the downside has come off the lows a little. Look at crude still kind of hovering around that 4% level in negative territory. Let's jump into a few individual names here. Welcome to the wrap, everyone. We'll go back over a few trades that the guys took over, the morning session. Talk about some of the news related to the individual stocks. We mentioned a number of names if you joined us at 9 o'clock in the pre-market. One of those was Johnson & Johnson. Actually going to go to Sean here first, guys. I see you have Neil up there. We talked about Johnson & Johnson, obviously, was the biggest mover in the pre-market this morning. They said they've identified a successful candidate when it comes to having a vaccine. They're going to get to human trials. They're talking about September, availability for the public, hopefully beginning of next year. J&J off to the races on that news this morning. Sean, you were all over that one.
Yeah, J&J was fantastic. I actually only made one trade on it, but we were able to hold it for quite a long time and make quite a profitable outcome for us here. And all we really did was, I talked about this in the pre-market, that's why you guys want to join us at 9 o'clock. It was doing tons of volume. You see this big volume spike on open. We actually opened at 128, so there was some opportunities to go long there. Too wicky. I mean, I've been blown out a little bit too much on the open, so we wait for it to settle down, and then I kind of just make it really simple here. This top wick is 130.75. It happens again, it happens again. So 3 times. We wait for that 4th time before taking this to the long side. Get out a little bit for flat as we didn't like the action, and then boom, straight to the upside. We take some out at 132 right there. So that's a $1.20 winner. This actually hasn't moved that much throughout the day, which has kind of been disappointing. And then that's our top. We let it run again. We talk about it trying to break 132.50. That doesn't really happen before getting back out. So now we are flat on J&J, taking a couple dollars out of this name. And look, they have apparently the vaccine. There'll be more testing coming through here. I love J&J just because of their balance sheet. I'm a stockholder in this name, great dividend. So they have a few things working for you. You see the Dow on its way back up. So you know what? I like this name. Solid company, solid balance sheet. Pick up the best names. It's very similar to why I love Mr. Softy as well. 2 huge companies in great spots, and more to go on these names. We'll be trading more of this later today and even tomorrow, obviously.
All right, the other side of this story, or another angle, I should say, to this story is Gilead. Neil, we'll come over to you with Gilead here. They announced this morning they will stop taking individual orders for their emergency experimental coronavirus drug due to overwhelming demand that they can't even keep up with. So Gilead was also moving around in the pre-market here. You had that one.
Yeah, I mean, Gilead was a name that both of us talked about how ridiculously choppy it's been since it had that 70 break. You go back into sort of like mid-February when this happened, and it got as high as 85. But look at the daily chart; it is just an absolute mess. The one thing that stood out, at least in the last little bit here, you get some spikes through, but 76.50 was a nice key level that we could play off of. Waiting for it to break out through that price, whether it's a swing trade or an intraday breakout play. But one thing that we noticed here, and once we started moving towards that upside, towards 76.50, we wanted it for a breakout to the long. We saw it test a couple of times here. It just tested once and twice and failed. At that point, I say to myself, hey, if we can't go, I want to be exposed in both directions. We'll play the short in front of that key level. If it breaks it, we'll reverse to the long side. But if it doesn't, I'm exposed to the short side of this trade. So we jump in front. We grab some shares at 76.20 or so, risking that 30 cents plus slippage. Reverse to the long if it goes. But then we get that slide. If it fails to break a key level and the market couldn't get its a big time juice to the upside, we know, looking at that daily chart, how whippy it's been, there's going to be a slide for you. So we get that little trail here to the downside. We get out some in front of VWAP. Now here's where things go awry. I wanted it, I had a target out right here at 70, in front of 75. It bounced literally like a penny off of my order. You saw me complain about that when it did happen. I moved my trailing stop up. When it broke to that 75 level, we got trailed out. So as much as you get a 70-cent win, we hit the trail, and this is what we missed out on, that secondary flush to the downside. What we did now do, however, while we were shorting Tesla, was watch this one at the bottom. When it gets to that 74 price, again, it's a whippy stock. You play out those key levels. We worked the long trade, thinking, hey, we got to have some longs to hedge that short that we had over in Tesla. Microsoft was one, Gilead was the other. We now have half of our position already out, looking for a dollar move into VWAP here. So a nice little bottom on Gilead. You got to play patience with this. You don't trade it in the middle of the range. Short in front of that top, wait for it to travel all the way to the bottom end of the range, and then take the long. If you're in the middle in Gilead lately, you've been getting crushed.
We noticed some individual names in the travel group kind of standing out on the strong side early on this morning. Boeing was one of those, Boeing was to the downside, but some other airlines moving back to the upside. The cruise lines, however, really crushed today. CCL actually halted at one point. There was rumors flying around that a death that happened. Yeah, exactly. Big time opportunities in CCL to the downside, but there was rumors floating around that a death that happened on one of their cruise ships was going to end up creating some liabilities as far as Carnival is concerned. Sean, you were involved in CCL off the bat. I just noticed this thing still down almost 10% on the day.
Yeah, I hit the floss because it was absolutely incredible. Thank God I stepped up, put some decent shares on the line here. And CCL, look, we talked about that in depth over the last couple of weeks. It's kind of sad what's happened to shareholders on this name. It's been absolutely destroyed, but we enjoyed taking the short. And I saw the move up here, and I was just sitting here wondering, where do I take the short? And I did not want to take anything in the pre-market. There was a market on open sell imbalance on this name, and as we zoom closer here, actually I need to zoom out to show you why I went short here. 1287 actually was this little level right here in the pre-market. Once it broke that, it was to the races to the upside. So I figured if we can break that on the downside, why not take that right here? This is it down here, 1287. This was the bottom. This is what we were looking at. My reload was up here at 1325. We love taking that reload, but look what happens. This is why it's so tricky, guys, to trade symbols in the first couple minutes because of this little whip action. We come all the way down. This is basically 1344 all the way down here in 1 minute to 1275. So you take 80 cents back and forth. So I put on a decent position here, hold it all the way against myself, almost 50 or 60 cents, which is fine. Get more short, and then the floodgates open up and we just cash all the way down here. Actually get lucky on the bottom. It halts, Brendan, there for that news that you're talking about. We had no idea, so a little bit lucky, obviously, on that break. You saw Royal, the same thing. Now we're back at this exact same level. Well, now we're at 1290, but we did get back to this 1325 level. Would have been a great short back to the downside. CCL for the win. I mean, it's been huge for me today. It's still my number one stock, and I was basically out of it all at 954. So you don't need to be in these things for too long, as right now we still have JPM long, Microsoft, and Tesla, but the futures are having a hard time here with 2600.
All right, guys, Tesla was another one that, Sean, I'll stay with you. Tesla moving to the downside. Give you a great opportunity right off the bat this morning with a nice flush to the downside, but no significant news around Tesla today. What was it about Tesla that you liked today, Sean?
I talked about it always at that 500 level. I love looking at stocks that are at a nice little even level wherever the camera is. There we are. We're now here. Nice little even level on Tesla. So I heard Neil was shorting in front of it. That's also obviously a great move. We love playing off these even dollar levels, guys. So I just waited, honestly, until it broke through 500, trying to be as patient as possible. And then this 504.50, that was a little bit of a problem back here at 1030. So I honestly just waited for that to break. It instantly went in the money, $2. So we took it out half of our position. Then it goes in the money about $5. We don't take that off. Now I'm just cruising right here, waiting to see if it comes back down to this 504. If it does, we'll get out, put the $2 in our pocket, but I'm waiting for this 508 to break. And Elon Musk never seems to disappoint. So we'll see if this name can get back going up here, 522. But yeah, what a drop in the morning. Very similar to Disney. Some of these stocks, you got to stay away from them early, in my opinion.
It was rare to see such a clean move on Tesla to the downside like that. Really, if you took the short around the open, wasn't against you very much at all. I want to go back over to Neil here. We talked about oil prices moving to the downside early on. Was down about 6% when I sat down. We've come back, obviously, since then. Oxy with a bit of news. Goldman Sachs suggesting the company will kind of shift its focus to cutting production over the remainder of this year. Neil, you had Oxy today, another one that gave you a great opportunity to the downside.
Yeah, a couple of things to work off of. Just sort of looking at what happened in Friday's session. You had a very, very hard bottom here at 1150 that held up in that little market fall that we saw right at the end of the day. So that's the first level I was looking at. And then you were able to sort of zoom in here and then see right before the open someone holding us up here at 1125. And while this was all going on, you got the price of oil sitting at that 2030 mark, obviously very, very depressed. And if it couldn't bounce off that, we wanted to take a short trade. We talked about this one off of the open. The other break we're looking for was the even dollar. So we grabbed the short right off of the open in front of that 1125. We're able to get 1117 when it retakes that level to the downside. We scalp a little bit off because we think 11 could be a bit of a bouncing point. It does not bounce off 11. It breaks 11. We add to our position 1095, and then you see the floodgates absolutely open up. And once again, you know, I'm probably going to stop doing this where I use trailing stops, and I'm not going to be using these trails in the first like 9, you know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the day, because the price action is too whippy. You hear Sean say you got to be patient. He's absolutely right about that, because every single time you throw that trail in and you have an obvious level to play off of, like a 1060 area, all that ends up happening is you end up making these wicks on the pullbacks yourself. And then you're missing out on the second half of the trade. So you can be happy all you want with 11.17 and then at 10.95 and getting out, you know, at 10.60, but you should have a little bit of this move to 10.50. You should have had the secondary move to 10.20, because we did target 10.20 as a key level. We went back and sort of looked at this a couple of sessions ago. There was a 10.20 bottom. I said it on the tape. This is what we like for the bottom of the day. And instead of waiting for that, we get a trailing stop in the first 5-10 minutes of chaos and then miss out on an extra 30-40 cents worth of profit. So overall, still a fantastic trade. I love that short. We're able to add on the way down, which you can't always do there. Oxy giving you all kinds of opportunity, in part because you just had somebody holding up and selling in the pre-market, giving you a bit of a tip that it was going to be a good price short.
Okay, let's a couple minutes to go here. I want to get over to some tech names. There was a little bit of news on Apple today. Really didn't amount to much as far as price action goes. Sean, you were looking at Microsoft as well, a name you're comfortable with, obviously, trading it almost on a daily basis. That's kind of your go-to. What did you see in Microsoft today?
Yeah, today we fall in a hole because I did see something and we missed holding on to this one. Look at this, guys. My very first long was 154. Yeah, now it's at 159. So there you go. Take the ideas, but maybe don't take my exits. You can see it just went straight to the upside from here. So we did cash in a decent amount. I mean, Microsoft still a huge stock for me today. But the point is, we got most of these out 60, 70, 80 cent winners. Then, Brendan, we do say enough is enough. Look at this. It takes out the day's high again. What I love about Microsoft is as it takes out highs, as there goes Tesla, nice little $5 winner there. 158.27 was the high. We hammered that one for, again, another 50, 60 cents, then drop it off here. But Microsoft, look at this. Just Microsoft keeps going for the win there. I love being bullish on this name. So strong once again. But JP Morgan still running for us. And here goes Tesla. This is what we're talking about, guys. Tesla for the win. 504 long. I know we already talked about it, but here we go. We're breaking through now on the futures, not even moving. So this is a nice positive sign here for Tesla up to 509. We're long 504 right here, guys. After already taking this $2, we'll wait for well, now it's $6, but let's see if Tesla can't keep going, breaking through 510 here, guys.
There we go. A couple of minutes to go here. I want to get to some earnings coming up after market and before the open tomorrow. Also, I think it's important, guys, that we get to what day it is today, because it is actually an important one. So we'll show the earnings board here first and touch on a few of these. I mean, we are kind of in the middle of nowhere as far as the earnings season goes, but some weed names on there.
Yeah, where's the board? There it is.
Yeah,
I missed the board. Oh, darn it, I can't see the board.
Yeah, Conagra on the middle there. We also see some biopharma names as well. And we know that's a space that has obviously been very, very volatile. So, look, it's probably going to be a bit of the same where you come in the morning and you look for some of those gappers. And then the other thing you should be doing, and Sean keeps saying, going back to Microsoft, there's a reason you'll hit it every single day, because, you know, with this kind of volatility, you get price action that's going to be good in a lot of these big names. Just play what you're the most comfortable with. That's what it's all about. That's why I jump back to a Gilead, which has been good for us lately. So that'll probably be the theme for me more so than the earnings, but it doesn't mean you don't want to watch to see what happens, you know, after market today for some of those that report after the close, and then watch out for those gappers in the morning.
Yeah, and Tesla, yeah, we'll look at those for sure. Restoration Hardware, fantastic. Tesla now breaking through that 510, going up to 512. A $6 winner on board right now to go with $1.50 on JP Morgan. Look, it's been such a super exciting day. Thank you to Valeria as well. When we are ready, I want to see what kind of a day it is today. We have our fun little National Something Day, Valeria. So why don't we throw it over to her when we are ready? And we are ready. Okay, Valeria, give it to us.
Hey guys, first of all, thank you very much for being with us today. I hope we've been helpful and entertaining, and we need your support back. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe for our channel, share the link with your friends, and mention us on the social media. Also guys, I send you a link on the chat, so right after this stream, hit the link and we'll continue to trade the noon heading into the close and chat about everything. So guys, now millions of people being self-quarantined at their places, and there is a popular wave right now to get out of your window and clap all together to support the health workers who are now cannot stay at home and they have to go to work to support all of us. So today is the National Doctors Day, and from all of us at Trader TV Live, we want to say a great thank you for the doctors. And also guys, the best thing you can do right now is to stay at home if you can to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can't say that enough. And you know what? To be honest, a good friend of ours that Sean and I went to school with, we did a happy hour call. A bunch of us, just get together and talk amongst ourselves. And one of the things he said, he's going to be on the front lines this week. And he's sitting there afraid, for his family and whatnot, but he's going in there anyways, like all of these the healthcare workers are doing, whether it's doctors, nurses, everybody is on call and doing a fantastic job for the rest of us, ultimately. So we can do our part. We're doing our social distancing, as you can see, and everyone's going to be doing their part. And this is what it's all about, sort of coming together. We can still have fun. We can still trade the markets and take advantage of what's there while being safe.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we hit the fireworks. I'm not sure what's funny. Something's happening back over there. I can't see, but yeah, that's why we hit the fireworks. Congratulations, to all the doctors out there working super hard. We love you for that, and we can't say enough, about everything that they're doing, because without that support, my kids are going out every night at 7:30, Valeria, and banging those pots. So it's actually quite a thing to hear in our neighborhood. So once again, guys, thank you for that continued support. I'll have a picture for that tomorrow. But yeah, my wife just sent it now, but we will. I don't think you can hear the volume, but here we go. Let me see if you can see this right here. I'll put it on my screen, guys. There they are, banging the pots. I don't know if that on screen. There it is. Let's see if I play it one more time. There they are yesterday. She's wearing her Halloween costume. So there's also that. And we just went for a bike ride, hence the helmet. He does not always look like a raptor or whatever this is. But to shout out to my kids and my wife as well for organizing things like that. But Brendan, it's been a fantastic show here. Any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to echo your thoughts, guys. Obviously, big thanks to every and all the medical workers who are, anywhere even remotely close to being on the front lines. Continued, work and best of luck over the next few weeks. It's been trying, to say the least, and they don't at all get enough appreciation. So from all of us here, obviously, thank you. Neil, take it away, wrap this thing up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic Monday. It looks like we're turning back around. We've talked about that 2613 on the ES and 7800 on the NQ. This is why I have a trail over there in some of these long positions that we have. It's going to be a fantastic and fun week, certainly in the market, as volatility keeps on going. But for the entire team here doing our little social distancing, Valeria on the ones and twos as a chat maestra. Make sure you continue to tune in on the chat for the rest of the day. For Brendan Wickens as well at the desk, doing a fantastic job. And for all of our guests, thank you for stepping on through. Fantastic. We're going to have a great lineup this week as well. And for Sean Katina, who's a little too far away for our little fist bump, and as always, myself, Neil Roberts, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is TraderTV.live. We'll see you tomorrow.
I did. I mean, I can see that we're on TV. Oh. There's no outro. All right.